Monitoring. Check 1, 2. Hello, hello.
Receiving content, it says.
We have 2 microphones today.
Yeah. Does it sound... Oop.
Hey guys, we're here. All right, what's going on? I'm getting a feed now. Let us know how it sounds. Anybody who is here. Nobody is here. What's up, lover of tech? You're here. Always here. Hey, we are actually going to review the Note 9. So, I was giving you hell on Twitter about that. Sorry about that.
Howdy, Furworks.
Howdy, howdy.
Good old howdy. I like it.
How's the audio? Is it okay? Let us know, please. Echo. He's getting the echo thing.
Low audio.
Low audio. Low audio. All right, hold on. Hold on, boys. Please hold. I'm going to check on my phone real quick. We're trying this new setup. Check 1. Check
We'd
2.
love to have 2
What's this for?
mics. That's for
Okay.
that. So, oh, yeah.
How am I
You have an
supposed
iPhone 10.
How am I supposed to do that?
I don't know. Stupid Apple.
All right. Sorry, guys. Please hold. Please hold. Get in the audio. We had tried to adjust the millisecond echo thing. Echo. 13 of you guys. Sounds good? Connor sounds good? I think the audio echo is from Dave's. Yeah, that's what we had last time.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
changed it to 100. Let's put it back to that. It's under advanced properties.
All right, you go ahead and do that. Let me know if you're getting an echo. I think what's happening is basically my mic, like when I talk, it's Connor's mic and my mic are both picking us up. There's like a slight delay there.
But for some reason, it's not going both ways.
Oh, yeah, there's some echo. All right, let us know if that's working or not. It sounds good?
Someone says sounds good. So
Cool,
putting
we
it
fixed
to that should have worked. All right, cool.
Sweet. What's up? Sorry, guys. What's cooking, everybody?
What's cooking, guys?
Sorry we're a little late. We had some technical issues there.
Yeah.
That is just the nature of live streaming, I guess.
Yeah.
Today we're using a new setup. We're using the AV.io 4K box.
We got rid of the Elgato. What was it called? Elgato something.
Yeah.
60.
We've got the Elgato,
HD.
the HD60.
Yeah. I got that backwards.
Connor's voice is unidirectional. Dave's is omnidirectional. Weird. I don't know. I'm just, well, hopefully everything sounds okay. Low levels. Let's boost these up a bit. Check 1, check 2,
Check 3.
Check 1. Is that better, guys? The best camera gear channel on the scene. Wow, that's a huge statement. The live streaming experience, technical product forever and always. Indeed. Cheers to that.
You wanna actually?
Yeah,
there
we
you
got
go.
our coffee here.
Mine's a little watered down.
I got this new mug. I was telling everybody about this mug. I hate travel mugs. Like the metal thermoses are awful because they add like a metally flavor to your coffee, and I can't stand it. I love using real mugs. So I found this on Amazon. It's a porcelain travel mug. And what's great about it is it comes with this little coaster built in here, nice little rubber coaster. You can take that off, and then this little lid here comes off as well. And now it's just a normal porcelain mug, but it fits in a cup holder. I can microwave it easily. Those aluminum ones you can't microwave.
Yeah.
It's obviously really dangerous. And it's just a simple mug. Like, it's really easy to hand wash. I'm not going to run it through the dishwasher. I guess you could, but I don't want to risk it.
Literally, as soon as he got here, I was commenting on the mug. I was like, I really like your new mug. So
And it doesn't affect the flavor of the coffee. That's the problem with those aluminum ones.
doesn't
so.
come in black, so I'm not gonna buy it though.
All right, so the topic today is
Anything.
kind of open. It's
Yeah.
an open topic. We're open to questions, and basically we have talked so much about different things like the Ronin, obviously the Mavic 2s, which are behind the camera,
There's somewhere.
the A7, and there's just a lot of rumors going around. There's a lot of things.
Which we did a rumor video as well.
Yeah.
So
So we feel like we could talk about rumors. We can kind of just talk about whatever. So It's open to questions. You can ask anything, really. A personal question to me, like
Just Dave, though. I'm no, yeah, no
a
anything.
personal question to Connor. And anything related to gear would be welcome. But if you want to ask me just literally a life question, I'm open to that as well.
Yeah, if you want, you can ask him about his glasses. He'll talk about them for the next hour.
Yeah, my glasses are broken. My son decided to grab them off my face and smash them on the floor, and so now they're hung together by a wire here. So
that is, was it? Oh gosh, DIY.
DIY.
Oh my gosh,
Do it
help
yourself.
me. Anyways, yeah, make sure if you guys have specific questions to us at Kinotika
In
in
the chat.
chat so that we know it's to us and you guys can talk amongst yourselves as well. That just
Yeah.
kind of helps us go through stuff.
So
We're gonna try some new things. We've got a screen capture thing going on,
yeah,
so
we're moving it up.
hopefully that works well and all that stuff. But who knows?
Our production is hopefully getting better. There's a lot of aliasing I'm noticing on this image, but let us know if you guys like it. It definitely looks a little soft as I'm looking at it here
Yeah.
on YouTube. But yeah, let's get started. We actually asked you guys to comment on the community post.
Mm-hmm. Do you want me to pull that up?
Go ahead and pull it up.
Look,
and Connor,
guys, this is a test here.
boom. We actually have audio going underneath this beautiful graphic of the community post.
Whoop.
So, yeah, let's start off with the top guy here. Go ahead and read it for me.
Yeah, keep it goalie ass. I got the Canon M50, love it, but I'm overly concerned about taking it out with any kind of wet weather conditions. Can you go over tips for taking a camera out that isn't sealed like pro bodies?
Well, obviously the M50 is
Not weather sealed.
not weather sealed. Switch back
Unfortunate.
to us.
Oh
See
yeah, I can
So
do
every
that.
time you go out, it's recording that.
I noticed that,
Yeah.
so I won't do that anymore.
Yeah, so maybe just check it on and off, and
Yeah.
then maybe I can full screen this and read it.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, I'm already seeing some chat here coming in. But yeah, the M50 is not weather sealed, obviously, so don't use it in the rain. But there are some ways to use cameras that aren't weather sealed. Back in the old days, before
Yeah.
cameras were weather sealed, especially video cameras, you can buy little plastic cases and plastic coverings that allow you to still reach in and touch the camera
It's
and
like
have an
a
opening for the lens.
It's like a hood or a bag
Yeah.
sometimes. I don't know if they come in other things, but I've only ever seen bags basically that you put it in. It's kind of,
It's got a lens hole.
yeah, it's awkward to work with though, and I don't
Have you
know
ever
if
used
there's
one?
I have.
Oh wow.
And I don't know that, like, the one I was using was, I used it for I didn't even need to. I bought one not realizing, well, I guess my 70D lens isn't weather sealed, so
No, It's
I
not.
guess it was all for the best. But they're bulky and they're weird to use, and I think the M50 is probably too small. I don't know if they come.
They might make smaller
They
ones, I
might
don't
make
know.
smaller
But
ones.
yeah,
I
use
don't
a
know.
bag. Use a bag. I don't know.
That's otherwise. I mean, if a little water gets on it, it's gonna be fine. But
Yeah,
just
I
wouldn't put it in the rain.
I've gotten a lot of cameras wet over the years, but then again, they're all DSLRs and stuff that were weather sealed. So
Yeah.
buy a bag. Next question.
Okay, let's
So
try
let's
this.
see this. Maybe you can.
I can read it from here.
Yeah, go ahead and read the next one.
Is the EFS 10 to 18 or the EFM 11 to 22 less distorted? So which one's less distorted, and which one should I use for my M50 and small rig cage?
Well, Connor, have you used the 11 to 22 on your M50?
I haven't.
Okay, so here's the difference here. So the 10 to 15 has a wide aperture of, like a wide open aperture of 4.5.
Okay.
And then the 11 to 22 has a wide open aperture at 11 at f4 to 5.6. And they both go to 5.6 on the tight end.
Okay.
So, just based off of those pure specs alone, I would still probably choose the 11 to 22 because it's native, you don't need an adapter, and it's technically brighter than the 10 to 18 at f4 versus 4.5. That's not a huge difference, but when you're talking about f4, like on a crop sensor camera, that's really dark.
I think
It's not
he's
good in low
asking
light.
specifically, though, which one will distort the
Yeah.
edges less, which also, I guess, if it's native, it should distort less, correct?
Yeah, they're both sort of native because they're both Canon, and
Right.
you've got the adapter which talks to the M50.
Right.
So to answer that question, I was getting to that, but
Okay.
basically, thanks for getting me back on track. But yeah, basically, I can't really answer that because I didn't do a distortion test.
Yeah.
The 11 to 22 is more expensive, and the 10 to 18 is cheaper. So I will just go ahead and say that the 11 to 22 is better.
And if you really, really want to know which one's better, rent both lenses and test it out for yourself, and that'll give you a definite answer.
And if you can't rent them, you can buy them and return them.
It's true.
By the way, we had the Crowley crew. He mentioned that my M50 review, I put it in a Ziploc bag and filmed most of the review in the rain.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So because the M50 is so small, I
That's a
guess
good hack.
you could just literally stick it in a Ziploc.
Like a little sandwich bag, I'm assuming. Does
Yeah.
the touchscreen shouldn't work through the
I think
through
it
the-
should.
bag, should it?
Yeah, it's just heat kind of.
Yeah.
Heat activated.
I don't know. That'd be interesting. All right,
But
you want
yeah.
to read the
Yeah, let's move on to another community post.
all right.
Hope you guys are enjoying this live Q&A from Nashville, Tennessee.
That's right. David Longnecker asks, what would be your dream zoom lens? Like mine would be the 35 to 100 f2. I think 24 to 70 isn't telephoto enough, and I never personally use 24.
Nice. I mean, it's kind of obvious. The dream zoom lens would be 16 millimeters to 500 millimeters f1.4.
Yeah, like
With IS that's this big. So that would be the dream zoom lens.
that's what you would call the unrealistic dream zoom lens.
The lens that he is referring to, a 35 to 100, sort of already exists. It is in the form of the Sigma 50 to 100 f1.8 aperture lens. So that lens does exist. It only works on crop sensor cameras, but it is a amazing lens. It's
Yeah.
basically like having a really fast telephoto lens, obviously.
Right. Now you probably wouldn't be able to get too wide.
Yeah, 50 millimeters on crop. That's at
Right.
85.
So that's he's talking about like a 35 for him was his dream,
Mm-hmm.
which I understand. I like 35 millimeters a lot, actually. It's one of my preferred focal.
It depends on what system.
Distance.
Yeah, I agree. It depends on what system he's using. You can also look at some vintage options. There is an amazing Contax Zeiss lens. Let me pull up my notepad because I actually wrote this down a long time ago. There's a Contax Zeiss lens that is an old manual focal length. Hold on, please hold. That is kind of like world renowned for being this incredible. Okay, I found it. It's a 35 to 70 3.4 aperture lens, and you can buy them around $500 used. And here's the notes that I have on it. It's as convenient as having like a 24 to 70, but it's much better. It has probably the biggest cult-like following of any Contax Zeiss lens. Some say it's one of the best full-frame zooms ever made. Its combination of technical brilliance and superb color and 3D pop have earned it almost iconic status. It's sharp, wide open at 3.4. It's world-class stop-down, has a 3-to-1 macro function, does everything with Brillo inside with tiny package. Oh no, that's a typo. Has become one of the most sought-after Contax lenses ever made for photographers and filmmakers trying to save on size and weight. This zoom is a no-brainer. So yeah, they also make a 28 to 85 Contax Zeiss, but this 35 to 70 is kind of world-renowned, and I have seen it been used on I've seen it used on like Arri Alexas and Reds, and in cinema you can declick it, so you got a declicked aperture. I'm shooting right now on the Contax Zeiss 50 millimeter f1.4, which is a vintage Zeiss lens.
We love these lenses.
We love them so much. It's on the A7 III.
Mm-hmm.
So I would look into that one, because if you like 35 millimeters at the wide end, 35 to 70 3.4 for $500 with a gorgeous kind of vintage look, definitely look into that. Contax Zeiss 35 to 70 3.4.
Why don't you go ahead and throw that in the chat,
Okay,
just in case.
I'll find like an eBay post or something. But yeah, that's a really good find, and I'm glad I thought of that.
For sure. Do you want me to find the next question?
Let's go on to it, man.
Alrighty.
And then keep putting the @Kinotika in the chat, and we'll find that and
These
answer
are
those later.
questions from the community post.
By the way, I found a 35 to 70 for $200. I'm gonna post
Gosh,
it.
that's
$250.
That's pretty great. Alberto, classic Alberto. Did you know the Panasonic G7 has its own flat picture profile? It's pretty good. I think that's the.
I did know that.
I had no idea.
Yeah, the G7 is great. We're gonna do a review on it. It's one of the most sought after cameras by one person alone, Alberto.
That's right. He is the biggest G7 fan I think in existence.
Yeah.
I think Panasonic would be hard pressed to find a bigger fan.
Exactly. Anyways, moving on.
All right, yeah, moving on.
Love you, Alberto. He's in school right now.
Kevin, maybe talk about the rumors behind the September 5th announcement Canon is making, possibly full frame mirrorless ? Which I think is pretty much confirmed.
Yeah, go ahead and talk about it, Connor. What do you know about it?
What do I know about it? Well, you said some news. Did new stuff come out about it?
Yes, new stuff
today
last night
or last
yesterday.
night. Okay.
Yesterday. Do you want me to talk to it?
Why don't you go ahead and talk about it because you're the one telling me about it today.
Yeah, so if you guys aren't aware, there were some new rumors leaked. I'll go ahead and pull them up on Canon Rumors. Why don't you? I'll text it to you, Connor. Can you do that, or is it?
It is.
From
It is
just the
polling
YouTube?
specifically from that page. I could have set it up in advance, so next time we should be more prepared.
Yeah. So here is the full list of gear that Canon will release on September 5th. I'm just going to read this out. I'm going to link it in the chat. This is extremely exciting. This is literally 1 week away.
Oh man.
So there will be a Canon EOS R body. They're calling it the R, which is cool.
It's gonna stand for really expensive.
No, this first one is going to be in that $2,000 price range.
Okay.
So it's competing with an A7 III.
Mm-hmm.
So the body alone, so it's a full frame mirrorless body with a 24-105 f4 kit lens. There's no IS on the lens. In addition to that, we will also be seeing a whole slew of other lenses in this new R mount. So the RF 35mm f1.8 IS macro lens, interesting.
Wow.
A Canon RF, get this, 50-1.2.
Wow.
That'll be really nice and sexy.
Wow.
And then this, so if it were up to me right now, based off of what the rumors are saying, these two lenses, the 50 and the 28 to 70 f2, are the two that I would want.
L series, yeah.
So that is an L series optic lens, 28mm to 70mm f2. That's never been done before for this type of
We
thing.
definitely need to test this out.
F2, not 2.8, F2. And then there's another 24 to, or no, it's the same one, the 24 to 105.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a 32mm f1.4 for the EFM mount,
Okay.
which is great. We need more EFM mount lenses for the M50.
They need to
and
keep
for cameras
supporting
like
that. The M50 is popular.
Yeah, it is. And that would be the perfect 50mm equivalent lens. And then there's two other lenses, a 400 and a 600, which I'm not that interested in, but it's good to know that they're there. These lenses might have different names. We don't know a lot of, is it going to be an M mount? Is it going to be an adapter for that?
Right.
But there's a rumor on Canon Rumors that talks about this new mounting system on the new Canon mirrorless cameras that is extremely interesting.
And to clarify, this is 100% a rumor. It is not confirmed in any way yet, at least.
The rumors are saying, so here's the post on the mount. We've received some information. It says that EF lenses mounted directly on the camera body are possible. Basically, this will have a mount with a sexy solution for EF lenses. So we're going to hypothesize a bit about what we think. So basically, in the patent, Canon describes a mount that supports two different lens protocols. This is further described in these two patent applications, and then they post that for reference. And basically, it's saying that you can switch the lens mount to support two completely different protocols.
Okay.
So the working theory is that there will be an RF mount, which is the new mirrorless Canon full-frame mount system, different from the EFM mount system, and an EF mount that will differ slightly with EF lenses, but it'll be able to mount, and you could switch between EF, like standard Canon EF, and this new RF. So basically, this locks the RF mount into Canon's patent portfolio which makes it difficult for third-party mount adapters to support on other camera bodies. Meaning, if somebody wants to make a camera with an RF mount or maybe make a special adapter, it's just going to be more complicated
Now,
for them. But
the working theory with this, basically what you're saying is that
I'm
both
gonna post this in the chat too.
both lenses, the EF and the RF, are we calling it?
Yeah.
Okay.
RF is the new mount. Yeah.
So a lens, if you had an EF lens, you could put it on there. If you had an RF lens, you could put it on there without any sort of adapters, what you're saying.
Exactly.
Now, listening to you read it, this just kind of came to mind, whether or not this is, how it'll happen. They use the word switch, like you can switch them out. So to me, that almost sounds like what they're doing maybe with the Zoom and the Pro, where you can send it in and have your mount or your camera switch. So I'm wondering, could it also be to where, like, if you got the camera and you would prefer, like, you have a bunch of EF lenses, you could have it.
You could buy it.
You
with
could
an
buy
EF
it
mount.
with it, and you could, if you then decide to use RF lenses, you could have it switched
That's a
by
good.
Canon. That's just a thought.
That's a great theory because Canon has done that in the past with the cinema line of cameras.
Okay.
You could buy a C300 with a PL lens mount or an EF mount.
Yeah.
And if you decide to change your mind, you can send it into Canon and then they would service it
Right.
and change it out for you. So that is an interesting theory, and I like that. That's a good thinking, Connor. So basically, that almost makes more sense than some sort of mechanism that would like pop out and go in and like be able to work with both
Right.
RF and
Not to
EF.
say that that's not technically possible. I think it's technically possible. I just think that, like you're saying, it's mechanically complicated. It makes everything more complicated, even like you're saying with third-party companies making stuff for it.
Yeah.
It gets into a weird space.
So maybe Canon will sell this camera in two versions, an EF mount and an R mount.
Which I think would probably do well for all the people who want to go to this new mirrorless kind of style and they have a bunch of EF lenses. They're going to want an EF direct connection. So,
and I do like these lenses, but it's still very limited. I mean, there's only 4 there.
right,
so.
it's like the EFM lenses. There's just not that many options yet. So
Maybe you could buy an EF version now, and then
right,
a year from now,
this is almost like an
switch.
in between. They're making it. I think they're trying to make it easier for people to go to this style and kind of, it's like a transition camera.
Aaron, Alden, maybe the RF lenses extend into the body. So maybe that's a good theory.
Okay.
So basically the EF mount system right now is, so I'll take this Leica as an example.
Sure.
So this Leica in a film type of way is like a mirrorless camera because there's no mirror.
Right.
You look through the viewfinder here, and then that is using basically a prism to that's attached to the lens, and I'm not going to get into it. But when you take this off, here's the sensor, which is a strip of film, essentially. It's blacked out, so I'm not exposing my film.
Good.
But with the SLR and the DSLR and, essentially what the EF mount is, everything had to go out about this much.
Okay.
Because you had a mirror in between the lens and the sensor. So
Right.
here's the sensor, here's the lens. And the problem with that is, like, that's a lot of space.
Right.
So all the mirrorless cameras are like this Leica, where you have nice small lenses that mount on a sensor that is literally right next to the lens mount, so you don't have this big gap.
Super compact.
But if Canon were to make some sort of camera that had basically 2 mounts on it, one like this, which is maybe an RF mount,
Okay.
and then extended out slightly to an EF mount, you
Interesting.
could essentially
So you could
mount an EF lens, and then the RF lenses would have almost like a taper to them that you then could put in, and then it almost inserts into that little mount.
And they could do that
That'd be
because
really
these
easy.
are they're designing these lenses specifically for this camera. So
And that's-
theoretically, that's possible.
That's pretty brilliant if Canon were to do something like that, because Canon's biggest asset is literally their lens lineup.
Right.
They have the best lenses in my opinion, of any company with the EF glass. And there's going to be so many photographers that are still shooting on 5Ds and 1DX
Right.
that don't want to sell all their glass. I mean, it's amazing glass.
That's a huge investment to just up and get rid of or not be able to use.
That's a smart idea. Thanks, Aaron for recommending that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So there's two options. You could buy it with either mount or maybe something like what Aaron's saying, rather than a mechanical thing that pops out and comes in, like that could definitely get destroyed over time, you know?
Yeah.
I'm going to take a question from the chat.
Sure.
Since you guys are here and you're live. I'm just looking for those orange Kinotika signs. Furworks going up to the top. Softball question. Have you seen what the Blackmagic Pocket footage released? Or have you seen any of the Blackmagic Pocket footage? What do you think? Oh, man. I have a lot of thoughts on the Blackmagic Pocket 4K.
Yeah. He sent this to me, and I have yet to watch it, although he's told me all about it. So
yeah, Connor and I and Davo,
Yeah.
who you guys met last week, we were kind of talking about it. And I posted on EOS HD forum, which is a forum that I'm really active on, about it as well. Had some of my thoughts, and here's my overall situation. So Blackmagic, ever since the very first cinema camera, which I remember because I'm old, I remember when it happened. I was at NAB when they released it. The whole goal and literally their whole marketing was mini Alexa. That was kind of their like whole marketing strategy was like, if you shoot on an Alexa and you want a smaller camera, use this camera because it matches the Alexa.
which, in your opinion, they did pretty well.
They did very well. In fact, the original Blackmagic cinema camera, the 2.5K, still has some of the best image quality out there even now. And I do want to maybe even talk about that on this channel because it's really curious. You can buy one now for like $1,000 and it looks better than Sony.
That would be a fun video.
Yeah. And if you're just using a camera on a tripod like what we do 80% of the time, and we don't even use autofocus, like it could be a great camera for live streaming and things like that. Anyways, I won't go into too much detail there, but the Blackmagic Pocket camera came out, same exact thing. It looked really good, very similar to the 2.5K, although it wasn't the image quality wasn't as good in my opinion as the original Blackmagic cinema camera.
Which makes sense. It was a cheaper version.
Exactly. But it was very close, very similar. I had both of those cameras for 2 years. I had the cinema camera and 2 pocket cameras. So I had 3 Blackmagic cameras. I shot all my work on it, all my client work, weddings. I went to Nicaragua a couple times with them, went to Africa with them.
Yeah, and I have seen those videos that you made, and they do look quite nice.
The dynamic range on them is insane. And having ProRes straight out of the camera is the best thing ever.
Are those still on Vimeo?
Yeah, you can check out a lot of that stuff on my Vimeo page, vimeo.com/Dave Altizer. Anyways, plug.
Little plug.
But fast forward to, last couple of years, the Ursa Mini comes out, the 4K, and then now the 4.6K, which is another amazing camera. And it's still kind of like, if you want Alexa-like images, it's kind of a cheaper alternative to Alexa.
Right.
And the 4.6K Ursa Mini looks amazing. So the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K comes out at NAB this year, and it's using the same GH5S sensor, which I have, reviewed on the channel, and we found having better color science than even the GH5, the standard GH5. So therefore, like, my thoughts are, okay, Blackmagic owns DaVinci Resolve, which is a color grading software, which is why all their cameras' color looks so good.
Right.
They literally own the best color grading software in the industry, one of them.
So what you're saying is they have really good history.
They have really good history with color. They have all these people that literally, they're engineers, and their only job is to make sure their color grading and everything is perfect. So, of course, their cameras are going to look good, right? Theoretically. So they're using the same GH5S sensor, which also has a better sensor in terms of color science than the original GH5.
Right.
So that's also good. So my thoughts at NAB were, well, this Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K is going to be light years better than the GH5S.
He was actually pretty much sold on it. He's like, this is going to be our camera that we use on set every day as soon as it comes out.
Yeah.
The
price point is just right. And the footage came out this week, and I was extremely underwhelmed. In fact, the very first thing that came out was like a test in a forest or something.
Okay.
And there was it was awful. Like, no offense to the guy who shot it, he did a great job shooting it. But when it comes to like testing a camera, that was like a really bad way to just start it off.
Right.
It was just a bunch of trees. and there was some stuff at the ocean at the end, so you could see some dynamic range, and it looked good.
Right.
But it did not look anything better than what is capable on a GH5.
Right.
Like, if anything, I actually found that it looked worse than what I would expect out of the GH5S.
Interesting.
Then fast forward to the next day. That was John Browley, who's a really renowned cinematographer from Australia. He has reviewed, like, he was always the guy that they would use to shoot their promos for, like, the Ursa and stuff, because he actually shoots TV shows on Blackmagic cameras.
Okay.
Like multi-million-dollar real TV shows.
Okay.
So they always hire him because he has actors and he, like, knows what he's doing with lenses and, like, lighting and stuff.
Sure.
And the footage came out, and it was all skin tones, interior skin tones during the daytime, and it looked bad. It looked really bad.
I'm gonna have to watch this now.
It actually looked. It didn't look bad. I feel like I'm using the wrong word. It looked unlike what I was expecting with Blackmagic's previous track record.
Maybe what you're trying to say is it looked worse
than what I was expecting.
Yeah, it's not that it was in quotes bad.
And I found that everybody on the forums and stuff were feeling the exact same way I felt, which is, you know, my gut reaction is, oh, this looks bad. But in reality, it doesn't look bad. It just looks worse than or it looks different than what I thought.
Do you think the fact that they're using the Panasonic sensor instead of what they used before?
I don't know what they used before. I don't know what sensor they used.
Was it their own design, or were they using a Sony sensor? You know, I don't know. Like, do you think that
it's not really
potentially using
no necessarily, but I don't know.
The Panasonic sensor, maybe they haven't figured out how to really optimize it?
Yeah, it could be a combination of the way that it was shot,
right?
The lenses that were used, the lighting that was used, the colorist
who
colored it.
That doesn't really matter because, like, this is the stuff that they're using to promote it. So
yeah.
They're supposed to be putting their best into it. They should be, yeah, exactly.
And then the next day, they posted another video by Newman Films or whatever, and he's really well known. He did a bunch of stuff with the Panasonic cameras. He did a whole short film on the GH5S. It had like a robot in it or something.
Oh, yeah.
So he also did this review on or he did a little test video with the Pocket Camera 4K. And it was like documentary style. He went out during golden hour on a hot air balloon ride and got a bunch of footage. And it looked good. It looked okay. But again, like, there was just something in the skin tone, something in the overall color that I was just not drawn to. And I was actually very surprised at, like, how unimpressed I was with it.
Yeah.
And it almost was like, it took me over the edge of, like, okay, well, I guess there's no reason to buy a Pocket 4K because compared to the GH5S, it's not doing anything better than what I would expect from the S.
Right.
And I lose a flip out screen. I lose continuous autofocus, which isn't, you know, the best.
Right.
The Panasonic's known for not having great autofocus.
But at least it's there.
But it is there.
Yeah.
It also takes better stills, you know, and it's kind of a little bit more practical of a camera to use because it's just designed better with buttons and, like, it's just a better system.
Right.
And then yesterday, John Browley posted another video that was like a low light test, and that was really what took me over the edge. Went on Twitter and was like, is it just me, or is the footage, like, incrementally getting worse? Like, I don't know. It's just really sad because I was really excited about it. Yeah. Obviously, none of these tests have anything to do with the actual performance of it and the actual, like, these are the filmmakers who shot its own perspective of it, their own direction.
We won't know until we test it for ourselves, which we will be doing.
I really, really want to do a test, a side-by-side of the the GH5S with the Pocket Camera, and compare the color science, look at skin tones, look at just the overall image quality. And I have a feeling that the S is actually going to perform better. Because even though it's using the same sensor, that doesn't mean it's using the same color science.
Maybe we should do a few blind tests as well.
Yeah, we should. So we will definitely be updating you guys on that. We haven't pre-ordered it. We probably should at this point because they're supposed to start shipping in the next month. I think now that we're seeing some actual demo footage,
I'm actually surprised.
I think that they will actually deliver on time.
I'm surprised that it took them so long, though, to get any sort of test footage. Do you think maybe because of these things you're describing, that's why they haven't put anything out yet?
Maybe. I don't know. That was a really long rant there, guys. Sorry. Lover of tech, I saw your retweet on the Panasonic full frame camera being announced on the 25th. I feel it will be contrast based still. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. There is a rumor that the Panasonic's going to make a full frame camera. That came out literally like last night.
Yeah.
And I was telling you all about it.
I've literally gotten updated on pretty much everything this morning. So,
I feel like I'm hogging the mic. Why don't you regurgitate some of the things that I told you about the Panasonic camera?
I almost paid attention to you. Maybe you should regurgitate this.
So,
to be fair, there's a long reason why, but I'm on Benadryl right now. So
yeah, he had an interaction with a cat, and he's allergic to cats. So.
Anyways,
so the rumors are saying that Panasonic will do a full frame camera, and that it is confirmed, and it will ship at the beginning, the first quarter of 2019, which is great timing for us because it gives us plenty of time to review the Canon, the Nikon, the Sony.
Kind of in a crowded space right now, which is a good thing.
Good for us.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Somebody posted on a forum, man, I can't keep up with all these new camera releases. It's like a full-time job. And I was like,
It is. Yeah.
It is. So we're really grateful for that. The rumors state that it will have an SL mount, which is from Leica, the Leica SL mount. I don't know if that's true. It makes sense to me because Panasonic and Leica have a working relationship together. And it would be great because that means you could, if Panasonic starts developing their own SL lenses, then that means if you have a Leica SL, you could buy some cheaper Panasonic lenses for your camera body and switch that out with the Leica.
Which is great because Leica lenses are like, I mean, they're great, but they're so expensive.
They're like $5,000. But that also, the reverse is true too. If you want the utmost quality with whatever this Panasonic camera is, you could drop $5,000 and buy a Leica lens and put it on there, which is awesome. So there is a problem with the Leica lens. It's a little, like, the size of it is a little weird because it's too big to adapt to other lenses. So like it's hard to put, I don't know if it's possible to do EF to SL, which would be a big problem. Nikon, obviously Sony, things like that. So if you're trying to adapt other lenses to the SL system, it's not as open as Micro Four Thirds or Sony E-mount. But there aren't a ton of rumors out there about what it is. Apparently, in the description, it said that it will be very powerful for video. That's like one of the things that Panasonic said, which gets me extremely excited. And let's just list off here like what Panasonic is known for doing that we can kind of expect. They will have a flip out screen, which is great. Full frame flip out screen.
You should talk about your theory on that after that, by the way.
Yeah. Well, I'll just say now, my theory on the flip out screen and why we don't see it used as much is because Canon has a patent on it. That's my theory.
Yeah,
and so
theory,
Panasonic,
not fact.
Panasonic and Olympus just license that from Canon. So every camera that's sold, Canon actually makes a percentage of because they're using their technology. And Sony does have a ton of money, so it wouldn't make sense why they wouldn't go after it. But from a corporate standpoint, I could see why there'd be an issue there. It's like, why don't we just develop our own flip out screen technology and not give any money to Canon? And that's what they've done. I mean, their system is their own proprietary system.
It could be a pride thing too.
Yeah. So, but anyways, it will have a flip out screen. It will have video features that we want, like waveforms, good focus peaking, great audio levels.
Do you think it'll do that as well?
It probably will do some sort of 10-bit or like high bit rate. It'll probably do 60 frames per second. The reason that the GH system, though, has always been good at video is because the sensor size is so small.
Yeah.
It's using it requires less processing power to do 10-bit 4K.
So that is
60 frames per second, things like that.
That is my question. Do you think they'll be able to achieve this if they do a full frame?
I mean, it is a 2019 camera, so we are talking about things in the future. So things will be continuing to develop, and the technology might be there to do things like that.
Right.
We're seeing where the cameras we're using now, the GH5 and the A7 III even, are using tech from 2 years ago because it takes 2 years to develop these things. So it's a newer camera, so it might be able to. We don't know. It'll probably use the same GH5 batteries, which are great. They last pretty long. And it'll probably have great internal body image stabilization because that's what they're known for having. They have wonderful IBIS. Again, that does have a lot to do with the sensor size.
I was going to say, though, do you think they'll do that? Like the GH5S doesn't have internal image stabilization. Do you think they'll go more that route, or do you think they'll go more the GH5 route and go ahead and include it?
I think they'll include it because it'll be appealing to both videographers and photographers.
Okay.
It might be the first Panasonic camera that photographers actually really consider. The Micro Four Thirds system has kind of been like more of a video person's game because the video features are so good. And when it comes to photos, it's really the same price to just buy an APS-C size sensor camera like a Fuji, a Sony, or even a Canon, and you're going to get better images because the sensor's bigger.
Right.
So if it's a full frame, that might actually make photographers more interested, and they're going to want IBIS. We're going to want IBIS.
Yeah.
The big kind of catch-22 is, what is their autofocus system going to be? Are they going to stick with the standard contrast detect autofocus that has plagued them for the last 3 years now?
I don't think they can.
I don't think they can either. I think that they've
it's outstayed its welcome.
They've kind of learned their lesson, and people have been so unbelievably outspoken about it. And with the GH5 and the GH5S and even the G9, they've kind of done firmware updates, and they have fixed it. It has gotten better, and that's what's great about Panasonic. They actually update stuff.
Yeah, they seem to be a good company, responsive to the community.
But the Panasonic full-frame mirrorless camera rumor, like, they have to do good autofocus. They have to do phase detect. And
there's too much competition.
I think they know it. Panasonic has proven that they listen to their audience. They listen to their users. And I really feel like even the fact that a full frame exists from them shows that they're listening, because people are saying, I want full frame. Panasonic and Olympus were some of the first people ever to do mirrorless. They invented the Micro Four Thirds standard.
Yeah.
The Micro Four Thirds mount was the first mirrorless camera ever because the sensor was so small. So they were able to do technology that didn't exist yet.
Yeah.
And so they've kind of stuck with Micro Four Thirds, but I think it's time for them to move on. It's kind of an older technology. It's something that is great.
It has its place still.
The benefits of it are the lenses. The lenses are so small, which is wonderful.
And the performance, like you were talking about with like 10-bit 4K.
Yeah, if they continue to make GH6, a Micro Four Thirds GH6, in the next year or so, apply 2019 technology with a Micro Four Thirds sensor, you're going to get 6K at 10-bit,
Which would be insane.
or raw video or whatever, ProRes RAW out of the HDMI, They're always going to be like 2 or 3 years ahead of everybody else with the tech. The one thing they really got to do is the autofocus. If they do that, I probably would be a full-time Panasonic user, because I just believe in the company more than any of the other companies. I feel like Sony and Panasonic are the best video fans of all the companies. Like they actually, like Panasonic in particular, is really doing things they don't have to do, but they're doing it because they want video users. And like the S in general, like the GH5S is totally a video camera. Like no photographer is really gonna ever buy that. But it's in a photography package, which is something that people want. I want that.
Yeah, I like that style.
I like that format. Anyways, that's the ramble on that. But there's also some other Panasonic news. I don't know if anybody else mentioned it in the comments here. There's also a rumor that there will be a G95.
Yeah, you
or
said
or a G90 or something, which would be an update to the G85, which was an update to the beloved G7, which is Alberto's favorite camera of all time. The rumors are on this that, and you guys can find all this on 4thirdsrumors.com. The rumors on this are that it's using the GH5S sensor, which I prefer over the 5, but giving it IBIS, basically, internal body image stabilization.
And cheaper.
And it'll be cheaper because they're probably going to exclude things like 10-bit recording, vlog flat profiles, super duper high frame rates.
It'll be marketed to a different market.
It'll be for more of a still shooter type of thing. But for YouTubers, that's going to be the one to get.
Yeah.
You can pop that 7-14 f4 lens, which is typically too dark for most circumstances on a GH5. Pop that on that camera. You now have IBIS, so it's nice and fluid. but the low light performance is good enough to where like f4 is not a problem anymore. So that is exciting. I think for vloggers, I mean they're not gonna change the autofocus though. It's probably gonna be the same.
For the 95, you think?
Yeah, I don't think they'll change anything other than putting that sensor with IBIS on a body.
I guess that makes sense.
It's too soon.
Yeah.
They need to basically completely redesign their whole camera system. Like they have to go into the sensor, and basically phase detect is having autofocus points embedded on the sensor. So it's a whole entire like restructuring of the way that it's designed, which is why I think the first time we'll see it is on maybe this full frame mirrorless, because they're starting from scratch.
Right.
And we don't know where they're sourcing that sensor. They could be using the same sensor that's in this A7 III from Sony, which has good autofocus.
Yeah, it's a good sensor.
Whatever Nikon is using in their new mirrorless cameras, they're probably sourcing that from Sony as well. So if Panasonic is sourcing that same sensor that Nikon's using, for example, and it has similar autofocus performance there, but with all the Panasonic type things like a flip out screen and good video quality, like that's going to be the one to get.
Interesting.
Anyways, sorry guys, kind of ranting all over the place, but
well, there's a lot of new interesting stuff that just came out. So
what about the C100 in 2018? Rick posts. It's a great camera. It's no different than it was when it first came out. If you're delivering in 1080p only, it's a wonderful camera. It's sharper than like a 6300 or like even an M50. It's going to give you better video than a modern day 1080p
those
DSLR.
cameras typically hold up really well.
The cinema cameras hold up really well. Yeah.
They stand the test of time. I mean, Davo still uses his C100, and it works great for what he does.
It sure does.
So
I think if you only need 1080p, C100 is a wonderful deal. You get XLRs. It's a proper video camera, so you get long battery life. It's a wonderful camera. I've used it a lot over the years.
Yeah.
By the way, the Crowley crew said the touchscreen worked using the Ziploc bag.
Nice.
Paul Lucas, are vision color profiles in particular Cine look worth it for someone who already likes the default Canon M50 profile? Paul, if you like the profiles, then stick with that.
Yeah.
I have, because I am a nerd, I just have bought a lot of profiles. I bought the vision color one. I bought the Cine whatever styles and the Technicolor one, the EOS HD ones. And honestly, I always just go back to either standard, neutral, or faithful, just the built-in Canon ones.
And I actually just made a little tutorial / M50 tips video, and I talked about if you want to kind of cheat it, you like how that profile looks, but you still want a little bit more room in post. You didn't just take down the saturation, contrast, and sharpening. And by doing that, you gain just a little bit of extra color grading room. But if you just like how it looks at a camera and you don't want to bother color grading, there's not a point in getting those.
Chris Babb, I'd like to get an A7 III but can't afford much. Which lens should I get first? Well, it depends on what your needs are. I would
probably an all-arounder.
Yeah, the best all-arounder for the money right now is the new Tamron 28-70 f2.8 lens. It's I think $800, which is a lot of money, and if your budget's tight, I can see why that's a problem. But for $800, you kind of get one lens that does everything that you would probably need. If you need something wide angle, then the 16-35 f4 is good. Also, feel free to look at the APS-C lenses from Sony. Those can be cheaper. Sigma makes some good ones as well that are super cheap, and you can just go to the APS-C mode on the A7 III and shoot in 4K. And they're really small. So that's a good solution as well. But if I were to pick one lens, the 28-70 f2.8 from Tamron is the best one. I would like to pick one up myself. If you want a good prime, the 50-1.8 is really good, and it's only like $200. The 28mm f2 is a really good wide angle. It's pretty. The aperture is great. It's f2, and I think it's like $500. I think if you're gonna spend $500 on the 28 f2, I would rather go for the Tamron because it's more versatile. But yeah, I guess my answer to that question, if you were to pick one, would be the Tamron 28 to 70. But I know $800 is probably a little too much. So with that being said, if you need to buy something for $200, the 50-1.8 is amazing. And then the crop sensor lenses from Sigma. There's like a 19, I think a 30, and maybe a 50. And those are each like $200. And they're APS-C Sigma Sony E-mount lenses.
So you could technically buy all three of those for cheaper than the...
But then you're dealing with crop, which technically on the 7.3, the 4K crop mode isn't as sharp, and it's still going to look fine, and I don't think anybody will ever notice, but just for some reason in the back of my mind, like, I always know that it's not as, it's inferior, so I'm like, I don't want to shoot in this mode.
You're always chasing the perfect image quality.
Everyday Dad, I just got in, so I don't know if you've covered it or not, but the Panasonic full frame, we just ranted on that. I'm going back on the chat, sorry. Dave seems quieter. Dave, keep your friends closer, your microphone closer. Hey, check.
I'll bump you up a little bit. You're
Check.
actually hitting our...
Yeah, I am peaking.
peaking a little bit.
Panasonic and Olympus flagships have it all. Weather sealing, grippy, dual card lock, full audio interface, full-size HDMI, vari-angle touchscreen. It's true. Like, if it really comes down to it, the Olympus and Panasonic bodies, and for videographers specifically, the Panasonic bodies, are kind of the best all-arounders. The only problem is the lenses and the mount. A lot of people have a lot of issues with that Micro Four Thirds, with the depth of field. You can use speed boosters, obviously, but... And then obviously you lose the autofocus performance that you get on a Canon. Honestly, if the GH5 and the GH5S, if they had good autofocus, those would be the ones that I would use.
Yeah, the autofocus is kind of a big deal.
Kinotika, let's see. What else? Guys, if you have any questions in the chat, hit at Kinotika and then ask us directly. Okay, Ethan Haitia. I would like your input. I think the full-frame Panasonic will be more of a cinema-like camera instead of a consumer camera because the full-frame cinema camera hasn't been touched. Exactly. I think Panasonic has an opening if they want to do it, if they want to make the best full-frame cinema camera type of camera. I think they are the ones that would do it. Canon won't because they got to protect their cinema line. Sony won't. They have to protect their cinema line. Panasonic has their own cinema cameras too. They don't seem to care that much, so they just want to be in the conversation.
It seems like they just want to make the best camera they can every single time. So I agree with you. I trust them to make a good camera.
Echo, 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 echo. Sorry, guys. My echo. Maybe when I'm talking, mute yourself. Then that'll just solve it, and then vice versa. I don't know if we can solve it any other way right now.
I could just, like, move my head in between the mics.
Dadgummit, guys. Sorry about the echo. I'm so sorry. We're trying to figure out the audio. Here, how about this? Just mute it. Check, check, check. All right, so let's go ahead and we're just going to use this one mic. That'll solve it for now.
A temporary solution to a big problem.
Can you go back to the community posts?
I can. I don't know if there's any more, but I'll go to it. David, what has been the most exciting gear release this year thus far, and what are you most looking forward to in the future?
Cool. I think the most exciting release so far, like right now, if we're not including the upcoming Canon ones.
I think we're just talking about what exists, what we can hold right now.
What exists?
Yeah.
Or is he saying
He says, what's been the most exciting release? Well, yeah.
I mean, release, right now, the Nikon's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
The Blackmagic was very exciting. Obviously, this Canon one is the most exciting one. So, does this sound better now, guys? Steve's like, great fix, solved. Sorry, guys. We are having trouble with these Blue Yetis. I don't know if maybe we should sell these and buy like just normal XLR mics and then get like an interface to then mix both our HDMI signal and then put it into the thing all in one. I don't know. We're
not really audio guys at heart, so...
Steve, are you like a fan of Everyday Dad? We love Everyday Dad over here. Cool. Any other questions? Furworks. No other questions here. So, what can we kind of like talk about here? Anything that comes to mind?
What'd you eat for breakfast?
I pretty much eat the same thing every day, but today I actually had an amazing meal.
Oh, wow.
So I watched a
Apparently
video.
this is a good question.
I watched a video on YouTube the other day that was about avocados, and it said if you eat one avocado every single day, that your chances of cancer, like some specific type of cancer, goes way down. And it's also like it does something else for your teeth, like you get less cavities.
Wow.
It's like a very, very healthy
They
fruit.
call it a miracle fruit, so that makes sense.
And so I told Laura, my wife, I was like, buy some avocados. So we're about to move to California, which is very rich in avocados.
Mm-hmm. If you don't like avocados, you're not allowed to live there. I think it's a rule.
Yeah. And so Laura and I made avocado toast today. So we put some toast in the toaster oven, mashed up some avocados, and then my wife, who's a cook, she actually mixed in some Italian seasoning, some garlic powder, salt, and pepper, and then we mashed that up all together, put some butter on the toast, put that avocado on the toast. It was amazing.
Wow.
That with vanilla, I have the same thing every day, pretty much. I have like an organic vanilla flavored yogurt that I mix in some granola with. I love that. That's better than cereal to me. The vanilla, really sweet yogurt.
Yeah.
The kind of Greek style.
Oh, yeah.
And then eggs. I eat eggs every day. I usually eat bacon every day too, but we were out of bacon.
You eat a lot for breakfast.
And then I had some watermelon as well, which is great. It's watermelon season.
Yeah, it is. Actually, my mom, she gardens, and she just picked a 50-pound watermelon.
What?
50 pounds.
Do you have a picture of it?
No, my dad does. I took a picture of it on his phone, unfortunately. But yeah, 50-pound watermelon.
Can you ask him to send? I'll ask him to send it to us.
Okay. Yeah, it's a big boy. We haven't cut it open yet. We're afraid to. We're like, how are we going to eat all of this watermelon? So we're waiting on like an event or a party or something to cut open this watermelon. Hopefully it's good. I don't know. I've heard that if fruits grow too big, they lose their flavor. So
all
so
right.
Weird.
I just asked his dad if we can get the watermelon.
Live Q&A, cameras and avocados, episode 1.
Yeah, exactly. Have you tried lavs? Even cheaper lavs sound good. We haven't tried lavs yet for the live stream.
We could do that.
Like an aperture lav or something sounds great. Gary has a great channel like yourself. Paul Lucas, what's the Sony A7 III's video codec like to edit when compared to the Canon M50s? So I can say that the 4K at 100 megabit per second is a little bit of a dog to edit with on our computers.
It's a little clunky.
We don't have the best computers. Sony's codec is a little finicky. Like Final Cut doesn't like it as much as the Canon one.
Although I will say, like, I can still completely edit with it just fine. Like,
yeah,
it's a little clunky. The M50 even I just edited some 4K footage with my M50, and it edits perfectly. But the Sony A7 III's, I haven't really I wouldn't consider it a problem. Maybe a minor annoyance at best.
Yeah. And if you want to completely solve that, and if you want a higher bit rate, which I'm considering buying, DSLR video shooter just did a video today reviewing the new Ninja 5, which is a 5-inch monitor recorder, which is great. And it can do 10-bit 4K at 60 frames per second. And it can also accept ProRes RAW, but there's no cameras that output ProRes RAW over HDMI yet. Hopefully Panasonic will be the first to do that. But anyways, I would recommend maybe getting an Atomos recorder and recording ProRes 422, even LT, because it would just play so much better on your computer. If you shoot ProRes 422, then you can actually shoot at 8-bit 422 from the Sony. And you're not going to really see a huge difference when you upload to YouTube, but it does give you just a little bit more depth in the color, and it's a little bit easier to grade with. Don B, 24 to 48 millimeter zoom range on Mavic 2 Zoom is okay. Around 20 to 200 would provide way more creative possibilities, but do you think that would be an ethical issue regarding privacy? That's a really interesting topic. I don't think that the ethical reasons are why they didn't do it. I think it's probably more of just a physical, like, just
It'd be a
mechanics
huge
issue.
lens that they'd have to get up off the ground.
Yeah, I think it's just the mechanics of that and the, you know.
I mean, a 48 millimeter can be just as invasive if the user so chooses. So I don't. Yeah, I agree. I don't.
Well, just
I don't
shoot at
think,
if you just shoot at full 4K, and then you shoot at 48 millimeters, and then zoom into that 200%.
or even that high res picture mode.
Yeah,
But yeah, so I don't. Yeah, I agree. I don't think that's the issue.
I think it's just physics.
Yeah, it's not physically possible yet.
And if they did do it, the lens would have to stop down a lot, and it's just too, that would be too big of a zoom to like put on a small camera like that. You might be able to see something like that on an Inspire, but I've had that darn Ninja 5 on pre-order forever. It needs to ship already. Everyday Dad. Yeah, it really does. I'm excited that the Nikon Z6 outputs 10-bit. That's what's really exciting about the Nikon cameras compared to the Sony.
Yeah.
They probably did that on purpose to give themselves a little bit of an advantage for video. So whenever we get that, we will definitely pick up a Ninja somehow. Either we'll buy one or rent one, so that we can test true 10-bit from the Nikon. The 8-bit 422 out of the Sony, like, it's such a small upgrade from 420 that it's kind of like there's not a huge reason to do it. But the main reason for me that I would want to use a Ninja on the Sony is just for that ProRes. Like, ProRes just plays better on computers. So
Yeah. We
You're
need
welcome,
to just
Paul.
get better computers.
you are welcome, Paul. Are there more questions that, like, if you scroll down a little bit on that, you can switch it
Yeah.
for the sake of this?
On this guy right here.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
That's it.
Okay, cool. So we answered all those.
I mean, if you guys don't want to ask us any more questions, I can just talk to him about his lunch.
Yeah, so for my lunch, I still haven't eaten all of it,
Oh,
but
my
this
gosh.
is a salami sandwich on wheat. I like salami sandwiches now. My wife turned me on to them.
Oh, dude, salami's fantastic.
I've never-
I've eaten salami my whole life.
I've never been a salami fan. I've never
Really?
I just never have.
Well, what'd you eat?
Turkey and ham.
Oh. Well, ham's great. I'm not a big turkey guy. Salami's amazing.
I'm a pepper jack cheese guy.
Mm-hmm.
I always have pepper jack cheese on every sandwich I make. I've also Laura started getting these. My entire bag smells like a banana right now because
And
this
hence this
banana is like
office.
kind of rotting inside. I love these pretzels. They're so good. They're these like flat pretzels.
Is that the everything pretzels?
Yes,
From
so
Publix, I think it is?
they're from Aldi.
Oh, thanks. Oh, I get one.
Which, if you guys don't know about Aldi and you have Aldi around you, you need to know about Aldi. It's amazing. It's like we save probably 30% on our groceries every time we go there.
You just got to know what to buy there. There's certain things that you don't really buy, or at least I don't buy at all.
So these are great by themselves, but Aldi sells these little hummus to go packages.
You know, I just made homemade hummus the other day.
Nice. It's pretty
Yeah.
easy. Pinto
Yeah,
beans.
It was pretty easy, but I mixed some jalapeno in there, like a fresh jalapeno. It was fantastic.
So these are great. These little portable hummus packages. Pair that with these everything flat pretzels. It's amazing. And I got watermelon too.
Let's see if that sparked any Canon questions, or not Canon, camera. Ooh.
Yeah, so that's my lunch. I haven't eaten all of it yet. So we're moving to California soon, like
Yeah.
a month from now.
month and a half.
And then we're most excited, obviously, about going to Germany,
Oh,
which
man.
is only a couple weeks away now.
Yeah, it's weird to think about, especially since California's thrown in there as well. Like, there's just a lot happening. I'm really excited to go to Cologne, Germany, specifically to, like, Photokina is awesome, but I'm just excited to see Germany itself.
Yeah, I've never been to Germany.
Never been there.
I would love to hop on a train and go visit Leica's factory. I think that would be an interesting video. I don't know if you guys care that much, but like
Do we have time for that? Do you think we could do that?
Leica. I mean, we're there a couple of days early. We're also
I think we're there a day early, which I guess we could do if we feel. And then I think we're there a evening. I think we leave the day after. the
But
event.
like NAB was like, I wish we stayed the whole time. Just for the sake of the channel, we would probably review like smaller booths.
Yeah.
But honestly, we got so much content out of the Blackmagic cameras. But yeah, I don't know. If we have time on a certain day, I'd love to go down there.
Sure.
Can you switch to the comment section and I'll read it? We never even did that.
I can try it. Let's see if this works.
So we
Booyah.
have. Is that updated to the most recent ones?
It isn't. Is it?
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
So Ethan, I'm having problem with getting non-cinematic. What is that?
Video E.
Video E motion blur. Oh, excuse me. Can you finish that?
Yeah. I'm having a problem getting non-cinematic Video E motion blur with my Panasonics at 24p and 150 shutter speed. I heard that 40 solves it. Which shutter speed do you film on?
Okay. What camera do you have? I don't know what camera you have. If you have a Panasonic GH5, you can switch to 180 degree shutter angle, like in its exact. So you can switch from shutter speed to shutter angle if you have any of the top of the line like GH5 cameras, or even the GH4 I think did it. But yeah, I mean, if you're shooting in 24p, the closest you can get on normal cameras is 1/50th of a second. So I don't know what you're specifically asking. I'm not completely sure if there's some sort of problem with shooting at 1/50th compared to 1/40th. I haven't heard that one. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just the camera. The way that the motion blur is rendered might look a little too video-y.
Mm-hmm.
If it's so annoying that it's driving you crazy, sell it and buy another camera. Like, I'm serious.
That's actually good advice.
A lot of people don't realize how easy it is to sell stuff. Like, you just post it on eBay, post it on Facebook Marketplace.
He literally sells something pretty much every day.
Like, when you own a camera, you don't have to have it forever. Like, you can buy another one.
It's true.
So, if it's bad, get another one.
I'm going to go back to that window.
Yeah, sure. Steve Carpenter, where in California? We are going to
Laguna Beach.
Laguna Beach area, specifically Laguna Niguel,
Yeah.
which is about 5 miles from Dana Point, if you're familiar with that area.
I'm not.
Yeah, what's really, 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 really exciting about where we're specifically going to live, it's not only the fact that we're only an hour away from LA,
Which is cool.
and we're probably not going to go down there that much,
And we're
or up there.
2 hours away from Mexico.
Yeah. The most exciting thing about where we're living specifically is it's the kind of the only beach area that has clear water.
I'm so excited.
And there's coral reefs, like literally where we live, that we can scuba and snorkel.
I'm going to get my scuba license.
And like there's cliffs and like sea lions and like it's the most beautiful. There's tide pools, a lot of tide pools in that area. So there's like sea urchins and just the beautiful kind of, marine life there. Dolphins and whales, a lot of whale watching in that area. So sharks.
Sharks.
So
Sharks are cool.
That kind of made my creative mind like open up, and I was like, oh man, we will be reviewing stuff on boats during whale watches.
Yes.
We will be doing GoPro reviews underwater, scuba and snorkeling with beautiful fish and coral reefs.
Yeah, it's much more what's the word? Beautiful? No, it's more attuned to what we do. There's so many visual things to look at and so many varieties of visual things to look at. Like Tennessee is a beautiful state, but we have trees and we have lakes. And that's pretty much where Middle Tennessee stops.
Yeah.
So yes, it's beautiful, but there's going to be much more variety in Laguna. So we're pretty excited.
Yeah, we're real excited. Another question. Vitaz, whatever. What's the best camera, Lumix GX85 or Canon M50? Well, I think it depends on your needs. If you want 4K and really good IBIS, G85. If you want reliable autofocus and overall good image quality, M50. Also, if you're more of a stills photographer, I would maybe still go with the M50 as well.
I'm a little biased. I own an M50. I really like it. And technically you can use the 4K, but just make sure it's locked off on a tripod,
Yeah.
and it looks really good.
Yeah, the GH5 or the GX85 has a better autofocus in 4K than
It's
the
true.
M50
You
does.
have to use manual focus for the 4K. So, yeah, depends on your needs.
Furworks, if you did a video talking about your views on BMPPC for 4K footage versus Alexa, you probably get a ton of hits. It's an interesting perspective on the footage so far I haven't seen. Personal channel potential there? Probably.
No, we could do that over here.
Steve Carpenter, I live in Dana Point. Dude, we'll see you there. We will see you at Laguna Niguel.
Yeah.
We're excited. Come meet up. Welcome to Kinotika, avocados and salami pretzels.
Yeah.
I know. Sorry, that kind of went off the rails there, but that's fun. That's what live stream and that's what good radio is all about.
Yeah, it's just hanging out and talking.
Dana Point is paradise. I've lived here all my life.
Well, how would you know anything else looks better if you only live there?
Steve, can you specifically tell us some of the things that you love about that area? I'm really curious. Any good restaurants? Any great locations to shoot?
Yeah. Also, is the water as cold as I hear it is? Because I'm actually from Florida.
Yes,
and
it
the
is.
water is perfect. And I hear that you can't get into the water
You just get a wetsuit.
Yeah, without a wetsuit. That's what I heard. So
It might be warmer there because it is more southern, so it's closer to the equator.
that's what I'm curious about.
Yeah. I personally, during the summer, I have in Huntington Beach area, I've gone in the water and it's cold at first, but your body just kind of adjusts. It's not freezing.
Right.
Obviously.
It's just not warm either. Okay.
Would you even consider doing some videos on your motion graphics and editing style? The Kinotika videos are so snappy and hype. Dude, thanks, Furworks. By the way, Furworks, what is your name? I would love to know your real name, unless you don't want to say that.
Yeah, I mean, keep it confidential if you want to.
But
An editing tutorial.
I've thought about doing Kinotika like how we shoot and how we live stream.
I guess I could.
We should not do a how to live stream. We're not good at that.
No, we suck. But we could do a KBTS on that one day.
Yeah, here's the thing. We don't own Kinotika. A guy named Tim Levin who lives in China actually owns Kinotika. He is our
There's some
friend.
news.
I talk to him every week.
Yeah.
They fund it. They pay for stuff. They connect us to people like DJI. And he wants it to be a gear channel. So, we review gear.
Yeah.
And that is what this channel is all about. Gear, all day long, nonstop gear all day, every day.
Which is fantastic.
And it's great. And he probably would not care if we did a tutorial on editing. He
Right.
probably would think it'd be great. But I don't know if it fits our channel.
It might not be to the heart of the channel, yeah.
I would love to talk about it on my own channel, but that's just a lot of time. I don't know. A lot of those things, the snappy editing, the motion graphics, all that stuff really just comes from what I've learned over a decade of doing this. And the biggest thing that I can recommend to anybody, and I've told Connor this, who's starting out, is just find your voice.
Yeah.
Steal and copy from other people, but be authentic to who you are.
Yeah.
I am not a Peter McKinnon, sexy slow-mo, cinematic B-roll type guy. Sam Colder, for example, is has the most cinematic, beautiful little vlogs and stuff, and I love it. But I cannot authentically do that, and it doesn't feel right when I try to do that. And I've done the hipster thing, trying to do a Vimeo staff pick style video, and I just don't have the swagger to pull that off. But what I have learned is I do understand comedy timing. I do understand awkwardness and how to enhance that and make it hilarious.
It's true.
And I was listening to an interview with some comedians this weekend, and one of the things they said is if half your audience is laughing and the other half isn't, that means that you're a good comedian. Not everybody understands the same type of humor. Everybody has a different type of humor preference. And what's actually really funny about Connor and I's relationship is his sense of humor is very different than mine.
So different.
And I've had to tell him hey, I know you cut that thing out, and I know it's really dumb to you, but I think it's hilarious. put it back.
Yeah, it's true. He makes me put things back in all the time, which is fine. I think in the end it does make sense because, you know, I'm editing footage of Dave. So if I cut it out it's just how I normally would have done it.
Yeah. Because to you that would be a mistake.
Because if I did that, it would be inauthentic to me.
Yeah.
Which is what Dave's trying to make. So although I do have
you've gotten goofy though.
I've gotten goofier, and in fact, if you like, I'm just gonna plug this real quick. If you want to see me act like an absolute imbecile for 10 minutes, I appeared on my friend's YouTube channel. He taught me how to ride his motorcycle. I've never ridden a motorcycle before, so I just kind of fully embrace the goofiness of myself. So yeah, if you want to see me act stupid, but yeah, to Dave's point, he has that kind of charisma, kind of goofy side to him, and when I cut it out, he's like, you got to add it back in. And so,
but he also gives me a lot of adjectives and verbs that I've never heard in my life.
It's true. If you ever hear him say a fancy word with more than 3 syllables, it was probably my idea.
Yeah, there was a moment in
negligible.
I think the Mavic Pro top 10 or something. I say negligible.
Yeah.
And like that was something Connor was behind the camera. He's like, "How about you say this? Blah blah blah. Negligible." I was like, "I've never used that word in my life, but I like it."
Yeah.
And it took me a couple takes to like say the word.
So Kinotika has really kind of over time blended our two styles, because it's not as goofy as Dave would probably make it, but it's not as serious as I would probably have made it. And I think it's good. I think
it's a good medium.
I think we really hit a medium. So I hope that kind of like, maybe we don't have to do a tutorial now. We've kind of just explained our editing style to you. If you're talking, I don't know, maybe I'll do a KBTS behind the scenes video on that one day if I find time on kind of our style and how I'm doing it.
And like to me, like I do have a lot of that pent up like ridiculousness.
Yeah.
And so like I did a Mavic 2 Pro versus Zoom video on my personal channel. I'll link that as well. But I like use like gangster hardcore rap music for no reason, and it didn't make any sense for it to be there. But I was just like, I want to put this in here because I want to.
Furworks, his name, Mike. Hey, Mike.
Mike, I think you have told me that now that you say your name, but I'm going to make a note in my Kinotika note page. Furworks is Mike. So thanks, Mike.
I kind of like saying Furworks, though, so
yeah,
I'll probably still say Furworks.
But yeah, on my
name.
personal channel, I'm trying to like be my creative outlet of like just being ridiculous. Anyways, Vitaz, the Leica SL Type 601 is better for photography than Leica S Type 007.
007? Is that real?
Let me see.
That's a great name.
Oh, so the Leica S 007 is a medium format camera. And just so you guys get some context, the Leica S is $19,000. And the Leica SL, now they've dropped the price quite a bit, is $6,000.
I'm having to like look over the mic to see what you're doing.
Yeah, so no, I think medium format has the wins in terms of overall image quality, as it should. I mean, it's $18,000, so the SL does have better, like, you know, higher burst rate, maybe better autofocus and stuff like that, but medium format Leica, I mean, give me a break, that's gonna look gorgeous and amazing. Kinotika, if GH6 was released with a full frame sensor, is there any way to adapt Micro Four Thirds, or would that be a write-off? They might. Well, first off, I don't think they're going to call it the GH6. I think it'll be a new line. You know, I don't know what they'll call it. Like a G, maybe not even a G. It'd be like a FH1 or something. I don't know. Full frame H with their system and the one.
Yeah. They'll call it something different.
They'll call it something different. I think the GH5 or like the GH line will always be Micro Four Thirds.
Which I think it should be.
Which it should.
Yeah.
But I do think that's a good question. Would they have some sort of Micro Four Thirds mode on the full frame to like have the legacy of using their older lenses?
I think they could. I mean,
they could.
Sony's doing it.
Yeah, so
Kind of.
if we look at all the other companies, Nikon has an adapter to use all their lenses. Canon has an adapter to use all their lenses. Sony E-mount works on both full frame and crop, which is Sony has the best system.
Yeah.
Because it's the exact same lens mount for both crop and full frame, which is genius.
No adapter required.
Yeah. And then Leica obviously has their own mounts. I have some itchiness on my nose. Sorry, guys.
Want a Benadryl?
Yeah, probably. I think they might have some sort of maybe an adapter that you could buy that could allow Micro Four Thirds lenses, and then it would obviously have to enter some sort of crop mode because a full frame image taken with a Micro Four Thirds lens, you'd have a ton of vignetting. It look awful.
Right.
So I do think there's a possibility that they would have an adapter. Steve Carpenter, water is colder than the East Coast. Yes, we'll need a wetsuit. Water is beautiful and clear most of the time. Eating, especially down at the harbor overlooking the water.
Ooh.
Dude,
Ooh.
thanks, Steve. It's ragweed, Dave. Steve, follow me on Twitter or something. I don't know if you're on there, but let's stay in touch because we would love to connect with you when we get out there.
Yeah, for sure. We could use someone who lives there who can kind of show us around. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be. I really can't wait.
First thing I'm investing in, weirdly enough, as soon as I get there, is a bike. I just want to be able to bike there.
I think we're gonna move down to being a one-car family. My wife and I.
Yeah, I'm not part of your family.
I'm getting to something. I'm gonna sell both of my cars, I think now,
Okay.
and then that way I don't have to transport a car from Nashville to California.
Right.
And then we'll buy a car when we get there. Or the other solution is without having to fuss around with buying a car there and not having a car for a period of time while we're in a new state, is we could also buy a car here and then I take it.
Bring it, yeah.
However, if
You could go ahead and buy a car there now.
online or something.
Yeah, and
that's
then
true.
get it and then just pick it up when you get there.
Good point. It's a good point. That's the way to do it right there.
Yeah, that way you again don't have to haul it because I feel like you'd spend a lot of money to haul it.
Yeah. But take some of that money, buy a nice used car, because we have one really nice electric car. It's worth quite a bit of money. And then I have my beater, like Ford Focus, 180,000 miles on it, gonna blow up anytime because it's a Ford and it's terrible.
Actually has blown up almost.
A lot of times.
Yeah.
That's not worth anything. It's worth maybe $1,000, but hopefully it's worth 2,000. I would love to take whatever I make off of the Ford and apply that towards either like a boosted board, a one wheel, or like some sort of electric bike of some sort, because that, like, if you
Oh yeah.
that'd be the perfect
I was thinking like
tool.
exercise. Like I could get somewhere and get a little bit of exercise in because as
Yeah,
far as I
sure.
know, it's supposed to be perfect weather all the time. It's not
Yeah.
like it'd be too hot to go biking.
But the cool thing about where we're gonna live is like we just go down there's a walkway all the way down to the ocean
Yeah.
from the apartments that we're living. It's 5 miles from the ocean, so on a bike that's not too bad.
Right.
And it's all downhill, so that means coasting down is going to be a breeze, obviously, but going up is going to be a pain in the butt, especially if we have gear with us.
It's true.
So getting an electric bike to take me up the hill,
Just
and that's
you?
it.
Do I get to walk?
just up the hill? Well, you can do whatever you
I'm
want.
kidding.
You want the exercise.
That's right.
Or a boosted board, but the boosted board is a little bit more limiting because
It doesn't have that long of a charge, does it?
some of the newer ones have great charges,
Okay.
charge time. I do like skateboarding a lot, and I am good at it, so like it's not like I would have a big learning curve there.
Yeah.
But the bike is almost more practical for everyday use because as soon as the battery's dead, it just turns into a bike, and that's easy.
And you could almost get like saddlebags for it
Yeah.
and carry some gear that way.
And skateboards are kind of especially the boosted board is kind of a pain to use as a skateboard. And I hate using a skateboard, like literally just using a skateboard as the only mode of transport.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as that battery dies and it turns into a skateboard, I am not enjoying using it to get around. But a bike, on the other hand, is way more practical to get around for like actual travel.
Right.
So even if the battery dies, who cares? I'll still get home. I'll just be a little sweaty.
Yeah.
But the bikes are expensive, though. I mean, they're like 2,000, 3,000 for a good one.
Makes sense. You could just buy a motorcycle for $4,000.
Yeah, then I got to get a motorcycle license. I got to get insurance for that. There's a lot of benefits to the bike because it's like it's off the grid kind of.
That's true.
And with our lifestyle, like we could literally ride a bike to Starbucks, ride a bike to the ocean, go back home on a bike.
Yeah.
Like there's no need for me to have a car because our day-to-day use, I'm not going to need it.
It's true.
So, except for the one day a week that we're going to be doing the other thing that you don't know about, but I'm not going to talk about it. Let's see. Okay. What do you think about the new Canon adapters, M80, RP, RND, Pay, RPL? So, a
lot of letters.
Don B is referring to the new mount that we kind of talked about, but there are some rumors that there's going to be an adapter with like these names have shown up. So one has the word ND in it, the other one has the word PL in it. So that obviously kind of makes us think like, is there an adapter going from R to EF that has neutral density built into it? So you don't need to use ND filters on your lenses for...
That would be amazing.
That would be great. And then obviously one for PL for like cinema lenses, which means that Canon might be trying to like get into the cinema, like the Sony kind of world.
Okay.
So what do I think about it? I would love that. If like... I love the idea of not having to use an adapter and be able to do both R and EF, which is cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
But I would way rather have the ability to have built-in ND without any type of image shift going on. Maybe an electronic ND similar to the FS5 or the Red mount one from Red. So yeah, that's cool. Furworks or Mike. Also, I understand the pent-up goofiness and having to rein it in. I made some really dumb tool videos on my channel intentionally misunderstanding the usage of a tool for comedic effect. As expected, they did not do well. Well, Mike, honestly, like, you got to kind of zoom out and look at your career if you are doing this, like, hopefully to do it full-time forever, which I want to do. I don't know if YouTube is going to be around forever, but I know that I would love to talk about cameras forever. Like, I really, as of right now.
He could do it, too. He could do it.
As of right now, I feel like I'm kind of finally found my zone. I've kind of been a filmmaker and just struggling with finding what it is I want to sink my teeth into. And I feel like I found it. So if YouTube doesn't exist, there's going to be other things. There's going to be other platforms. But if you zoom out to like look at your life and think about your career as a 20, 30, 40, 50-year span of time, hopefully, God forbid I, don't die along the way. Like, don't worry too much about the views or like the performance. It's all about being true to who you are, true to like what it is that you actually want to do. Because long term, if you do what you want to do now, every video that you're making, you're kind of setting yourself up for that end goal, which is to do what you want to do and be yourself full time.
I'll touch on that a little bit because we've talked about this before. The great thing about YouTube is your audience kind of over time will find you.
Yeah.
So if you're true to yourself and how you are, more people like-minded with you will eventually find you. It may be building an audience more slowly.
Yeah.
But, you will still find people over time as long as you're doing, as long as you're still producing good content that they can gain something from and you're still staying true to yourself. I think that's valuable.
Steve Carpenter, no, I don't see. Hit me up on Twitter real quick so that I can make sure that I follow you back. Is Metabones the only company that makes speed boosters? No, there's a couple other like third-party companies. I bought one when we had a GH5S because I wanted to do some tests on it. I wouldn't recommend them. They're all kind of really cheaply made. The problem with those types of adapters, is they have like really bad light leaks and image reflection issues. So basically what happens is light comes in, it hits that little lens that's in the speed booster optics, and it bounces off of the adapter itself, and then that goes into the sensor. So you can get some weird reflections.
And it's between your lens and your camera, so you want to make sure whatever you're putting in between it is good quality. Because
Exactly.
you're ruining the quality of a good lens or a good camera.
If you put bad optics in between it, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would just stick with Metabones. They're really, really good. They're kind of the industry standard. and they don't have those types of issues as bad as the third-party companies, but they do exist. Let's see. Ethan, thank you for all your help. I've recently subscribed and are really enjoying your cool videos. Keep up the good work. And the water is cold here, but being in Cali is worth it. Ethan, where do you live? Are you in LA? Are you like Santa Monica? Are you up Santa Barbara? Are you in San Francisco? San Francisco is really cold. I've never been, but I know it's cold because it's
Looks
northern.
like a cool place to visit.
Yeah, we will definitely.
I've only been to California one time, so I don't.
For VidCon.
For VidCon, that's it. That's all the info I got on it.
We will definitely make the journey up to the Redwoods and like Yosemite and like maybe do a whole weekend trip up there sometime because this guy is like unbelievably ready to do that. So
Adventure till death.
that's right. I am not naturally somebody who wants to go like necessarily do that stuff.
I said, can we take?
But it'll look good for the channel.
I said, can we take a weekend trip up to the Redwoods and camp? And he said, you can camp. I'm staying in a hotel. So, maybe I'll convince him over time to actually camp one day. But
no, I've camped a lot. Like I've camped in the middle of African Masai Mara, waking up to a lion a lion roaring in the middle of a tent camp site. Hyenas broke into our campsite, and I got bit by a spider and threw up in the middle of the night and had a fever all day the next day.
So are you saying it was a bad experience?
It was enjoyable because like I got to see a leopard like in its natural habitat, elephants, rhinos.
I haven't been to Africa. I'd love to be there.
And like I said, like my alarm clock was literally a lion roaring in the morning.
I mean, that's pretty epic.
So I've camped. Like I've camped in the middle of an island in a lake and with nothing in the middle of the rain. I've camped before. I just I don't know, for work. Like I do not want to be uncomfortable while I'm doing work. I don't know.
I find it extremely comfortable. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you're just a camper. I don't prefer it, but I've done it before. And I'm not afraid of it. Suburbs of LA, San Fernando Valley. Ethan, you live where I was born. I was born there, San Fernando Valley. My parents lived in Kinotika Park, I think. I don't know. No, that's where my mom's from. She's probably watching, so she can correct me on that. I can't remember where they're from, but anyways. Desmond Cook, which do you like most? Motorized gimbal or glide cam? I think now with the Ronin S and the Zhiyun crane, for example, I think those really, in my opinion, have completely replaced the glide cam for most circumstances. And the reason I talk about this in the Ronin S video, but like in the past, the traditional 3-axis gimbal systems were much more complicated to use. You had to like use these handles and you had to like set it on a stand and you couldn't just put it on the ground as easily. And it's just kind of like, it was great, really stable, really fluid, really awesome. But there were still a lot of benefits with a glide cam because you could just set it down really easily. The camera was at eye level rather than being slung down low and having to like hold your hands up or flip the whole thing. But now with this new handheld setup, which has been around for a while, it's just DJI just now caught up with it. I don't really see a huge reason to go with a glide cam. There's still a lot of people that prefer them. Devin Supertramp is a big fan of it. I think it's mostly because he's sponsored by them and he has his own signature series glide cam.
I guess with the glide cam, if you know what you're doing, there's less things to go wrong mechanically. So
yeah, it's physics.
Technically, it's more reliable. I mean, you're relying on gravity, which hasn't been broken yet, so it's pretty reliable. Whereas a gimbal, as great as they are, it's still technology. It can still break and all that stuff. But
and there's batteries. There's
batteries.
You don't have to worry about batteries.
Although the battery life's pretty freaking good, so there's that. But I think Dave is speaking pretty true here. I think if not this iteration of gimbal, maybe the next one will for sure make it to where Steadicams are not obsolete but like very niche.
Nice. Ethan, Kinotika Park, yeah, that's where my mom's from, I think, or like she's from Woodland Hills area. Don B, when will the Ronin S focus wheel work with most camera brands? Exclamation point, question mark, exclamation point, question mark. I'm with you on that. I don't know. I don't have any details. Newsshooter.com posted an article about the accessories that are finally coming to the Ronin S, like the focus motor and the handles and a lot of that kind of stuff.
I guess it takes a while to develop this stuff. I don't know. Like, it's been out for a while now.
Yeah.
So you would think they'd have something.
They should. Ethan, before you log off, can you follow me on Twitter at Dave Altizer? We'd love to connect with you too if you're in California, if you want. Furworks, following down that path, do you think the modern gimbal has partially replaced the conventional slider? I will say that I think we're, like, when the DSLR movement happened is really when a lot of the slider shots kind of overtook everything. I know Jeffrey, who I think is still on here, Jeffrey Holland.
He was, at least for a bit.
And we used to shoot a lot of weddings together, and we shot almost every shot on a slider. Like, one of us was designated to only getting slider shots. It was like that essential. I think there's still a place for slider shots. I don't think that gimbals necessarily have replaced them because there's still really specific what's the word I'm looking for? Like, a slider is way more precise in getting that dolly kind of look. But here's the thing, with the modern type of technology that we have now, all you really need is a gimbal and a camera that can shoot 120 frames per second. And you just go like this and slow it down. It will simulate the look of a slider very well when you slow that down to slow motion.
But if you're wanting not slow motion, I think, yes, sliders still have their purpose. I mean, because the problem with the gimbal, it's like, even though it is motorized, you're still including human error.
Yeah, up and down,
you know. So, like, if a slider's just gonna do, it's gonna do it perfect, you know.
And for YouTubers, I think doing product shots and stuff, the slider is really good. We will be getting some Edelkrone stuff soon. They reached out to me and want to send us some stuff, so we'll do some reviews on the Edelkrone gear.
Looks pretty cool. I'm pretty excited by what Edelkrone. We saw some stuff at NAB, which was pretty impressive.
Steve Carpenter and Ethan are buddies now. He used to work in Simi Valley. Vitas, Kinotika, what was your first photography equipment? I will go first, I guess.
Sure.
I started out, like, if I want to go all the way back, my parents had an old VHS camcorder, of course, and I shot a lot of home videos, and my buddies and I would make little short films and comedy films. When I was in high school, I would make, instead of doing papers, I would cheat basically by making a movie about the topic that I was supposed to write a paper on. Then I'd get an A because they were like, oh man, that's awesome. So I've always dabbled in video, and those are all camcorders. But when I first started, like, real professional work is right at 2008, right at that point where camcorders were phasing out and the DSLR movement happened. So Jeffrey, who I don't know if he's still here, but he sold his camcorders and bought a 5D Mark II. And then later I bought a 7D, the first, 7D that came out. And then I was blessed. There's a company that wanted me to do some video work for them. And so he bought me a bunch of gear. He actually bought a 7D, a Canon 24L, and the Canon 70-200L series lens, which was phenomenal. It was like a $6,000 kit that he bought for me. And basically the deal was I would work it off. So I actually did a couple of promos and commercials for this guy for free, but I was just working off the gear that he bought me.
That's really cool.
And then he decided he didn't want to do video anymore, and he bought almost the same kit that I had. So he just gave me his gear. So I ended up having two 7Ds with a kit of lenses that I feel like God just kind of provided for me. And it really jump-started my whole career. I then sold all the Canon stuff and switched to Panasonic, or Blackmagic. I went from the Canon 7Ds to the original cinema camera and then the two pocket cameras. And then from there, I sold that stuff and went to the 1DC, which I had for 3 years. And I loved it as a cinematographer. I really loved that image. But then when I started doing YouTube, that camera I just sold it like last week.
Emotional moment.
It was emotional because I really do love that image. And I think, like, when I first started back in 2008, You know, that's when a lot of the new kind of stuff was happening in the industry. And I remember, I guess it was 2010 or 11 when the 1DC was announced. And it was like, it was just unheard of. Everything was 1080p. The image was soft and bad. And when the 1DC came out, it was the only like 4K DSLR mirrorless style camera in existence. So it was just something that everybody kind of lusted after and wanted. And I saw it at NAB, and at the time it was $15,000. And I remember telling myself, like, if I ever make it, I'm gonna buy that camera. And
you did.
I did. I bought it. It was $4,000 when I bought it. I sold it for $3,600. So like that's not too bad.
That's awesome.
But that's my kit, and now I have the A7 III. The A7 III is just a band-aid to get me between now and whenever all this new stuff happens.
Yeah, this new stuff is pretty exciting.
Like I would even consider going with the Nikon system because it has a little bit like more appealing things to me, like the color science and the ability to adapt the Nikon lenses and the 10-bit out. But obviously, all that's going to go out the window if Canon knocks it out of the park.
So it's really up to Canon. The ball's in Canon's court.
But then, yeah, for the next 5 months until the Panasonic full frame comes out.
It's in their court. It depends on what they do. They can choose to play, or they can, drop the ball.
And what was your first kit?
Mine's not as long as David's.
Sorry.
Because David has been doing this a lot longer than me. So that's fair. The first thing that I recorded video on, and I made goofy little videos with my younger brother. Like we'd made a bunch of Star Wars videos.
Nice.
I feel like that's what every kid does.
Yeah.
I had a billion lightsabers. It was that. You remember those weird cameras? I think they were called flips.
Yeah, the flip camera.
Yeah, and they had to you push the button on, and the little USB stick came out.
It was pretty ingenious.
I had a green one, and I loved it. I used it a lot. I filmed a bunch of really dumb stuff, but I'm glad I did because it's funny. Like when I think back, like I keep saying, like, man, I'm new to video, like, which is kind of true professionally. But if I think back, it's like I've always been screwing around with cameras and whatever other stuff and making dumb videos. So that's kind of fun. So I did that. And then I took because he said specifically photography, so I'll include this. I had the Rebel S or X. What was it? It was all
XS or something.
XS, yeah. I had that for a little while.
For photos?
For photos. My parents, actually, they bought it for my sister, and she didn't want it.
I think I remember that.
So I got it, and I used it a lot, actually. And I entered one time in the county fair. I got first place with my photo. I was pretty proud. And then from there, I decided I wanted to make videos. I wasn't really interested in photography. And I was like, what camera do I want? And I knew I wanted to stay with Canon just because that's the camera that I was using. And that's all I knew. I didn't want to break out of that. So I looked around, and at the time, the Canon 70D was brand new. And I was like, I don't know, I just wanted it. Like, I just knew it's like, that's the camera I want to buy.
Casey was using it at the time.
Was he actually? I wasn't watching Casey back then. I didn't know he existed back then. That's really unfortunate for me. But so I decided I really wanted that camera. And for a kid, I wasn't making a lot of money. I wasn't like David, who's been making money, doing awesome work and making money. So I didn't make any money. So I literally saved birthday money and Christmas money so it was a birthday, Christmas, and birthday. Saved up all that money and did some odds and end things in there. And I told my mom, like, is there a way that I can earn money from you at home to save up? And I bought the camera. I was super happy.
Wow, that's a lot of money.
So
that was probably like what, 2,000 or 1,000, 1,500?
It was $1,500 I think in total for everything that I bought. So that was mine, and I had that. And I loved it, used it for years, made dumb YouTube videos with my friends, and then started working with David, still had the 70D, then the M50 came out, and I was like, you know what? I want to get a different camera, and I ended up buying the M50. And I really like the M50.
Yeah. So you still haven't sold your 70D.
I still haven't sold it. It's
sitting back there.
It's right there.
We need to probably do that so you have a little extra cash.
Yeah, I like that camera. It's a good camera, but I do need to sell it. I used it the other day, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So.
I think it's important to have two cameras. Like, I wish that Kinotika would just buy something and then just leave it here at the office, and then Connor would have his M50, and then I would have maybe the Sony as my personal camera. It's kind of a pain having to go back and forth between taking that out of my backpack.
We're always tearing down and
yeah,
setting up.
yeah. So
Save a lot of time if we didn't have to.
Carlos asks, "How old are you guys?" I am 28. I just turned 28 on the 14th of August.
And I am 21. I turned 21 in Vegas.
Yes, you did.
At NAB in April.
It was awesome.
And
His mom had a heart attack.
And I had food poisoning on my birthday, so I couldn't even drink a drink. Go figure.
But it's not something
not that it's something I've literally had. I can count all the drinks that I've had on my hands since I've turned 21.
Yeah.
So drinking is not important to me.
I don't think I ever even drank alcohol until my honeymoon with my wife when I was 24.
There you go.
So, yeah. Anyways, we're not drinkers.
No.
I started a Tyco video cam in 1995, which was black and white and did not record anything. You plugged into a VCR and recorded the video there. I shot a news show with my brother. That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, I was VHS all the way. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. I used Adobe Premiere on my old PC. Learned After Effects when I was like 13 and used that as well. That was a huge blessing to have all those.
I used iMovie. As embarrassing as it is to say. No.
Diana, happy birthday.
Oh,
Yours
happy
was
birthday.
literally like a couple of days ago, like 3 days ago. Robert asked, is the M50 good for a music video? Well, Connor has a very specific answer to that because you used it, right? Or was that the 70D?
No.
You shot that black and white one.
I shot it on the M50.
And I gave you my lenses.
And I borrowed
my sexy
Zeiss
lenses.
Yeah, your Zeiss lens. And it turned out great. I actually haven't posted it anywhere, not because I'm embarrassed by it. I don't know why. I haven't posted it anywhere. It wasn't mine. I did it for a friend. He was like, he's went to school for audio engineering and he had to make a music video and he asked if I would shoot it as a favor and my other friend as well. So we both shot it. And I think it turned out great. I don't think
it did.
Quality looked good.
I think I get that question a lot. Like, can I use X for X?
I think the answer is always, yeah. It's just use it correctly.
Exactly. Like, my answer to that question is always, yeah. I mean, you can use an iPhone to shoot anything. Like,
yeah.
I mean, there's filmmakers like Steven Soderbergh who literally shot an entire movie that went to theaters on an iPhone. And
he's just making sure to use it and optimize it. You know, he's not just
lighting, acting,
he's not
script,
just taking out his phone
audio,
and is like, all right, Dave, be good acting. You know, like he's yeah, exactly. Acting and lighting, you know.
Script. That's most important.
Did he throw lenses on
no.
front of, no, he just shot it native. There you go.
And they tried to shoot it as stripped down as possible for everything too. There was no like lens adapters. They would use like an Osmo and like different things like that. But there's a whole like revolution kind of happening. I don't fully understand it, but there's a lot of people who are using, maybe for marketing reasons.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple, I think John Legend shot a music video all on the Google Pixel 2, and it looks really good. And the guy who directed it is like a mobile phone director or something. Like he's kind of almost coining that term or something.
Sure.
And Steven Soderbergh has literally said that, and he's a big time director. Just look him up on IMDb. He did like Ocean's 11 and like other bigger films, and he said like, I will never shoot on a big camera ever again. I will only shoot on iPhones. So he's also said that he would never direct ever again.
Yeah, didn't he like come out of retirement?
Yeah, I think he's just a flippant creative.
Yeah.
Like most of us are.
I feel like that's going to be you in 50 years. You're going to just be like, I'm done. I quit. And then like a week later, you're like, what are we filming?
Exactly. It's like Casey. Like he said he was done with vlogging, and then 2 weeks later he was back to vlogging.
So you get the itch.
But I don't really understand the mobile thing. We did a video on shooting an iPhone with a vlog. It got like dozens of views.
It honestly wasn't that good.
No, it wasn't a good video.
I mean, just to be transparent.
My cat died that day, and I was not feeling it. We just had to do something. I was really sad that day. And then it just also like it wasn't well. It was okay, but we didn't have much of a direction.
It was a good concept. It was poor execution, honestly, on our part. So that's kind of our bad.
We're thinking about doing some more mobile phone stuff on the channel. I hope that doesn't turn you guys off. I know if I were you in the chat right now, I might be a little turned off because I don't fully get the mobile phone stuff.
But in that same light, I kind of do. So,
but like to me,
I think it's important to cover just because the cameras are getting good enough.
But here's why I don't get it. So, you know, Steven Soderbergh shoots on an iPhone and he says it changes the way movies are made because it's so small and unobtrusive. Okay. Well, a GH5 isn't much bigger. Like,
right.
Especially the Blackmagic Pocket original is literally smaller than an iPhone.
I think.
So why not just use that camera that shoots raw video?
I think in that light, yes, it doesn't make any sense at all. I think shooting a movie for the cinemas on a phone does not make sense.
Yeah.
Now, if you're just guys like us on YouTube, guys just creating, the thing about a phone that's great is you're already going to have one.
Yeah.
So it's like, do I even have to buy a camera if I'm just making YouTube videos?
Yeah.
So that's kind of more the angle I would look at it from.
Okay.
So, you know, it's like
and
I want to get into YouTube.
Yeah.
And I'm brand new and I don't have a lot of money. I have an iPhone 10. Do I need to buy a camera?
The answer is no, you don't.
Right.
I mean, we could even be doing a live stream over a mobile phone way easier than the setup that we're doing now.
Right. And the cameras are getting pretty comparable.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
I get it. I guess I personally don't get it because I will always have a camera.
Yeah, I would want a camera too. Like in the end, I would rather have a camera than an iPhone.
And a camera is easier to use to vlog with than a phone.
But like, I guess the point is that you can, and if you want to, you know, you can. And if you don't have a lot of money, then you don't have to.
I don't know if you guys have watched like Moment Lenses. They have like a pretty good YouTube channel. They've done a lot of vlogs and like they have this anamorphic lens thing and like, but they've done a lot of vlogs on the phone and I'm like, I don't get it. Like,
hey, Alberto. Sorry,
what's
I'm
up,
going to cut you off.
Alberto just got back from school. You said that you were in school, so you're here now. I assume you're off school. Maybe you're on the bus. You're at home, sitting on the computer. I don't know. Sitting on the can. How many of you guys sitting on the can when you watch this? I'm really curious. How many of you guys are dropping turds while we're live? Let me know in the comments. But
like, go long enough, I'll be doing that.
Yeah, but the Moment guys, like they shoot vlogs on an iPhone. Do they have two phones, like one for phone use and then one to film videos with? And then at that point, like, why not just shoot a freaking use an 80D or an M50? Like,
yeah, that I don't understand that either. Yeah.
And then that's the big question mark that I have is like, I understand why. Okay, if you're starting out and you have an iPhone or a Note, you know, Samsung S9, whatever you have,
or Pixel.
Google Pixels are great.
Yeah.
And you're going to use that for video purposes. I guess you do it to save money. That makes sense.
Like, I guess the point is, like, you could save that money, buy lighting, buy audio equipment.
Yeah.
And then use your phone. Because, like,
you can edit on your phone, too.
You can edit on your phone, so you don't have to worry about editing software so much. So I think, like, the point is that is your money better spent somewhere else? Is your money better spent on lights, you know? Because lighting helps tremendously. If you have a good, like, I guess the Sony has good low light, but it looks so much better with lighting. So it's like,
but then I would also argue like, well, or you could buy an M50 for under $500 or, you know, under $600 and sit next to a window. That's going to look better than a phone with good lighting.
Right. But what if your apartment doesn't have a good window?
You go to the library or something. Go outside.
I think there's arguments for both sides is kind of the point we're making right now.
But I will say this. People like MKBHD and even like my friend Armando from Mondo Bytes, they built their career reviewing phones. And the truth is that consumer-minded people watch reviews on phones.
Well, also you got to consider that like a new iPhone comes out every year. And I feel like I'm just talking about iPhones here, not even any other companies, but like, there's so many people that every single year they're getting the new phone, right?
Yeah.
Or they want to at least get the new phone. Like for me, every time a new iPhone came out, I watched a ton of videos on it. I'm still using an iPhone 6, but I have watched so many videos on new iPhones.
It's time.
It is time. I actually am gonna.
The next upgrade cycle.
Well, I actually am waiting for the next upgrade cycle because I'm gonna change phone companies and. Well, anyways, that doesn't matter. But
yeah, like I don't know a thing about Androids at all, other than I know the Pixel's good, I know the Note 9's good, I know the S9's good. That's about it. I also know that the Red Hydrogen one's going to be exciting, and MKBHD just posted a video today.
Yeah.
Unboxing that. That's cool. The red phone. So yeah, I think if we did do mobile phone reviews on this channel, it will still stay true to our editing style. It'll still be funny. I think there is a hole in the YouTube sphere of a tech reviewer like our channel.
Yeah.
That focuses more on consumer stuff.
And we would focus on the camera.
Exactly.
That's because that's what we do. We're a camera channel, so we wouldn't really be reviewing necessarily the phone itself. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
All the things that come in reviewing a phone, that's not necessarily what we would focus on.
Exactly. But I don't know. I don't want to be a sellout. I just have been kind of thinking like, I think there's something there. I feel like there's a need that we can fill with comedy, entertainment, and then the camera side of things with mobile phone reviews.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Do you guys agree? I think that we're going to try to maybe get the Note 9 as maybe one of our first ones. And then I own an iPhone 10, so that's a good place to compare it to.
And if I end up getting the, I think it's officially being called the XS.
Yeah.
Which I think is like a great
10.
name for Apple. The,
10S.
Yeah, but like
XS.
if you it's XS, like you don't need it. It's XS, but you want it.
Furworks is saying that the phone idea isn't appealing to you because you're a Windows Phone user. So
I'm sorry.
That's awesome. Your live stream has been like 2 hours. So if anybody else is watching from the toilet, their legs must be asleep. Everybody hit that like button. After watching your review, I grabbed an M50 with a 22 f2 pancake lens. It's great for head and shoulder interviews. My B-roll panning shots are not smooth. What am I doing wrong? Droney McDroneface. Dude, Droney McDroneface.
I love that name. We love that name.
We remember you from last week.
Not smooth in what way? Is it like the weird jello-y effect? That's 4K problem. That's rolling shutter.
I think he means like it's not stabilized.
Oh.
And even if you do use the IS on the camera, it's not going to be very good because it's that's kind of a tighter focal length.
Because it's what, a 35 with the
I mean, it's still wide-ish, but
I think also it could be like, what are you using to pan? Like, is your tripod?
I don't think he's using anything.
He's just holding it.
The number one thing that I can tell you to get is a tripod. A good one, like a video design tripod.
Yeah.
Connor bought a really affordable and good video tripod. It's called the Be Free Manfrotto tripod.
It was what was it? $200, I think, is what I spent on it. It's kind of pricey, but it's specifically for travel. I bought it because when I go hiking, and I will go hiking, I wanted to be able to put it on my backpack.
But it's got a nice fluid head on it, so you can actually get some pretty dynamic
also
like video
has a
shots.
ball head, so I can
level it,
which is hugely important.
We're using my tripod right now, and we use it for almost all of our shoots.
Yeah, his tripod is a beast.
I paid like $1,600 for it, and it's a carbon fiber, 501 head on there from Manfrotto, and it's a proper video tripod. It's one of the first things that a pro told me to do is like just buy the best tripod you can afford, because that is a tool that will carry you on throughout your career.
So basically get a tripod, and then I would turn the IBIS off because I think it kind of messes with your footage more than it helps it.
Yeah.
In our findings, I think Dave would agree with that. So turn that off, get a good tripod that's smooth, and try your panning shots that way. Should help a lot.
Maybe pick up another lens. If you want a great all-arounder, the 18-100, I think, or something like that, 135. There's an EFM option there.
Also, you
IS.
could shoot at 60 frames and slow it down. That'll help if you're hand-holding. And also, like, if you really want to, you could just like try your very darndest to be as smooth and still as possible. But the problem with being a human is that you're not going to it's never perfect.
Well, the problem with the M50 in that sense is that it's so small that every little micro movement that you make is really visible.
Yeah.
If you were to compare that to my 1DC, because it's big and heavy, it actually smooths it out.
It's true.
So another thing that you can do is maybe pick up the cage that's designed by Small Rig. They just made an M50 cage. That'll add some natural weight to it. It'll also help you kind of grip it a little bit better. It's a little bit more sturdy. So yeah, those are some solutions. One thing I ask from the Lord, this only do I seek, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to gaze on the beauty of the Lord and to seek him in his temple. Amen. 0101010101. Thank you for that.
I wonder if that says something in binary.
Panning on a gimbal, not jello. The pan has jagged edge, but not buttery smooth like on my phone. Joining McDrone face.
Jagged.
I don't fully understand what you're talking about. You might be talking about the rolling shutter effect.
Well, he's saying it's not the jello. He's saying it's jagged, which jagged is sharp. So you're saying it's kind of like, you know, doing this number. It could be his
your shutter speed.
Yeah, it could be your shutter.
Yeah.
Make sure that it's double whatever
frame
your
rate.
frame rate is. So if you're shooting 24, closest thing is 50. If you're shooting in 60, make sure it's 120.
And that
I think it's 125 actually.
And that obviously, if you're using everything in auto and the shutter is changing and it looks jagged like what you're suggesting, then obviously once you go down to 50 and you're shooting outside and you want that f2 aperture, even when you go to ISO 100, it's still going to be too bright.
Yeah.
So that's where you want to get an ND filter.
I actually just did, and I suggested this, and David suggested it to me actually, so this is technically his suggestion, but I just made a video saying to get a 43 millimeter, and I went to a 72 millimeter, but you can get 43 millimeter to pretty much anything adapter, so it matches other lenses if you have like other, like for instance, I'm looking at getting a Sigma lens that's a 72 millimeter, so I wanted to make sure that all my NDs were compatible. So
I just posted that video on the chat.
Oh, cool. Thanks. Yeah, so check that out. They're great. So that would help you a lot. Good NDs is always vital to have.
Indeed. I'm going to share my Mavic 2 comparison video as well while I have you guys here. We have our own personal channels outside of Kinotika, and that is the place where we can just kind of creatively explore and just do whatever we want.
Yeah.
Although our boss, Tim, for Kinotika, like literally lets us do whatever we want. So
it's true. We're not really restricted here. It's just
the context of the videos here.
Yeah, we're trying to keep some sort of a professionalism with Kinotika, you know, and with our own channels, we can, if we want to break from that, we can. There's nothing holding us to that, you know.
Well, I think we're coming to a close here. I'm really excited that we hit 2 hours.
I can't believe we hit 2 hours.
It felt pretty natural. I didn't feel like I was having to reach for straws here. Although I literally did reach for my salami.
And I did ask you what you ate for breakfast.
Yeah, avocado toast, baby.
We reached for food, but not straws. Also, straws are banned in California, so we can't reach for straws anymore once we move.
Can't wait for that. I'm going to have to bring, like, portable straws everywhere we go.
I'm going to smuggle them in or something. I don't know.
They make, like, little metal straws that collapse, and you just keep them in, like, a backpack
I hate metal straws. I have a very... I mean, for one, it makes everything taste metallic, like we're talking about.
It's the same issue.
But, like, on a totally different note,
thermos.
I had a Starbucks cup, and it had a plastic top, but a metal straw, and it would wiggle in the car from the vibrations, and it would ring and make a terrible, annoying sound, and I would just take the straw out.
Oh, my gosh.
It bothered me so much. So, yeah, metal straws, no go.
Mike gave us $5 for coffee once again.
Dude.
Thank you so much. And avocados. Thanks, Mike. You're the best.
Always concerned about our health. I appreciate it.
Don B, thank you for the kind words.
Appreciate it.
We promise that we will do our best to make our audio as good as it can possibly be.
We thought we fixed the echo. We literally spent a whole day just trying to fix that, and I guess we failed. So
yeah, and then the image quality needs to be better as well. The colors look good. I'm not hating the colors too much. They look all right.
Yeah, they look pretty good. I think we're always improving, and I think the new box that we have is better. I think we just need to learn more how to use it, and we're using a brand new program as well. We didn't use this last time, so we got to learn how to optimize that. There's stuff we're working through, but I think every time we should get better.
All right,
Steve.
I am going to remove that Steve Carpenter, thanks for the great show. Straws are still available in California.
Are they actually?
Wow. Okay.
Not-
I heard a rumor that they were illegal. Maybe they're available, but they are illegal?
Is it just in Starbucks? Because I heard it had something to do with Starbucks. Is it, does Starbucks ban them in California, or is it? I know that Starbucks is banning them in general. Eventually, over time, they're working that in. So I don't know.
We will see. Thank you so much, Steve. For
We really appreciate it,
for
man.
the $10. We will have to meet up with you for coffee sometime when we get out there,
Yeah, for sure.
and we'll hang out at Dana Point. Got ready for work while watching your live stream. Made the time go by. Thank you, Melissa. Thanks for chiming in.
Means you had fun. That's good.
That's what I love about podcasts. That's what I love about live streams is they're passive. You can just kind of edit. That's the idea that we're doing here with the timing of this is like we assume you guys are probably at work. You're probably at your computer editing or working or doing something.
Yeah.
So you can just kind of passively listen and comment and be a part of the community. We love just chatting with you guys. Honestly, for me, I know I'm speaking for Connor.
That's fine.
The live stream that we do every week, which we're, by the way, if you haven't noticed, we're trying to do Fridays at 3 o'clock every week. It's one of the highlights of the week for me. I really enjoy it.
You know, I'll be honest. I've enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah.
When we first decided to do this, I didn't know if I would enjoy it as much, just because I'm not normally on camera.
It's helping you get better at it.
But I like it, and obviously I've started my own channel recently, and that's been fun. So this is definitely a highlight.
Oh, Steve Carpenter says that you just have to ask for the straw. So okay, so we were wrong. So basically, like they're not going to just include a straw with your drink, but if you say, "Can I have a straw with that?" they will give it to you, but they will probably give you a little stink eye. Like, really? Are you going to destroy the turtles?
Yeah, and I mean I think that's a good solution. You can ask for a straw.
Alberto, G7 with dual pixel autofocus.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
I would love
Panasonic. Let's just say Panasonic in general with dual pixel. That'd be amazing.
During Caleb Pike's live streams on Wednesdays, I'm constantly fending off people's questions while listening. Basically, Mike, I guess you're saying that you watch Caleb's video while you're at work, but because we do ours on Friday, it's a little bit more chill at the office. That's awesome. I love that. Cool. I'm glad that the time works. I know, Alberto, you mentioned that you're still in school when we start, so sorry about that. We're not going to shift our whole thing around you, Alberto, as much as we would love to.
It would be amazing if we could.
But I'm glad that you're here. Maybe we'll try to do 2-hour ones so that you can chime in at the end.
I mean, this felt good. I don't feel like we went too long.
How long did we do? 2 hours last week too?
We did 2 hours last week as well.
But we were exhausted.
Well, you got to remember the context of that. 2 hours.
Oh my gosh.
After the first hour, like if you go back and watch that, just go about an hour in, you'll see my face just like drain of all life, and I just shut off.
We were so hardcore working on those Mavic videos, which we still didn't, like, I was disappointed that we didn't deliver them as quickly as I hoped. And honestly, let me just say this. Here we are a week later. Like, wasn't that crazy? Like,
yeah.
There was so many Mavic videos on YouTube.
We were surprised. We didn't know how many people had them. So we were working with the hope and that we would be one of a few that had gotten them early, because we felt pretty lucky to have gotten them, which is true. We still were.
Still feel lucky.
We were lucky to get them early, especially because of the size of our channel compared to other people who got them. But we were just surprised at there's like 30 videos in the first second that they was announced. I mean, it was amazing. So there was just a lot more competition than we were expecting.
And we're really not a drone channel. Like,
yeah,
we do camera reviews, and I do love using drones, and I know a lot about drones just from my experience. But I'm not an expert like We Talk UAV or like some of these other drone
channels. And their videos
channels.
were good.
They were amazing. They're still crushing it.
Absolutely
but
crushing.
They posted their crash test. I kind of leaked it on the live stream.
Yeah.
But the crash test that they did is pretty amazing. They couldn't destroy the Mavic 2 at all. And I can vouch for it. Like, it's a really sturdy drone.
Yeah, what he's saying is that he's crashed it.
Yeah, Don B. That is definitely their marketing strategy, and they killed it. Like when they announced that thing, there was probably like 50 Twitter posts, and then like Connor said, like 30, 40 YouTubers within the split second that posted all their videos.
And it is brilliant. I mean,
It's
think
brilliant.
about it. Like, if they pay anybody, which I don't think they necessarily do, all they do is they give creators a drone.
Yeah.
And I mean, it works out for everybody, but like they're just giving people a drone and they're advertising for them.
Yeah.
So it is brilliant.
Alberto, don't worry about me and my schedule. Just started junior year and one weekend. I already have tons of homework and got 46 on my history quiz. Dude, I feel your pain.
Okay,
I remember those days.
What history? I did really well in history. Maybe I can help you out.
Yeah.
I super love history. So
BMCC 4K. I guess we'll mention this at the tag in here. EWC visuals. We did go over it quite a bit. I, and along with everybody else, kind of feel like it's a little disappointing. It's not bad. The image quality that was posted on some of these tests that came out this week are good. They're not bad at all. But it's not what we were expecting. We were expecting Alexa-like images, and it's just not there.
basically, it's not holding up to the Blackmagic name of the past, and that's why it's disappointing.
And you're giving up a lot of things that the GH5S gives us, like continuous autofocus, flip out screen, a lot of other settings and formats, anamorphic modes, things like that. So if we're given the chance, I would still lean more towards the GH5S compared to the Blackmagic.
But again, we haven't actually held it. We haven't actually used it.
We're going to do some side-by-sides.
You know, that's just our initial reaction.
AP US history.
Oh, dude, U.S. history. Dude,
AP,
dude. Well,
Alberto's a smarty pants.
Yeah.
AP history.
46, man. You're in AP class. You got this, man. No worries. But I don't know if you can barely see it, but over there, like, I love history and U.S. history. That is a flag from the World War II era. It is a 48-star flag. It is 100% original. It's not a replica, and I love it. So Alberto, like, if you want to you have a question, you can shoot me a message. Maybe I can help you out.
Mike got AP US history too. Man, these AP people, I think I took AP art, I took AP English, but I don't know why. I think I was trying to like make my mom proud or something.
Yeah.
I always felt like college wasn't for me, but because everybody went to it, I thought I had to do it.
I did honors classes not because I wanted to, but again, same thing as you.
I was like, I guess this will help me in college.
But I don't know. Like, maybe don't listen to us, or maybe do. But like, in my opinion, I was like, is an A, not an honors, better than a B in an honors class? Like, I've always struggled with that. It's like, so it's harder, so you get a worse grade.
Yeah, so your GPA goes down.
So your GPA goes down, but it was a harder class. But if you just took a regular class, your GPA would be higher.
I mean, if it were, I think the difference,
but you don't get that little honors credit.
Yeah, I think AP counts towards college. Like that counts towards a college credit, so you don't have to take it in college. But here's the secret, Alberto, and anybody who's in high school. Guess what? Especially if you go to a community college, a normal college English class is easier than a high school AP class.
It's totally true.
So I know that it's like, oh, I might as well get this over with so I get a credit for college and I don't have to take it in college. But like, if you want to just shoot the breeze now in high school and take like a elective course that's fun and enjoyable and hang out with your friends all day, and it's like an easy A to get your GPA up to help you get a scholarship later, and then just take an English class in college.
Just make sure you do well if you're not going to take an AP class.
Like a standard community college English class is, I guarantee you, easier than an AP English class in high school, because they have to kind of almost dumb it down a little bit, because there's so many variables that come with college. Like, you have a lot of adults who are going back to school that aren't as fresh in it with high school stuff. So you're going to be learning stuff in a basic English class in college, especially community college, that is like basic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But also, who needs college anymore with the internet? I mean, seriously, like, if you want to do video stuff,
I learned everything that I know from the internet and or from working with people who know stuff, like Dave.
And finding someone who can connect you and like point you out toward, like, Connor showed me his resume. I was like, you're welcome, Connor. Like,
Yeah.
I introduced you to a lot of people.
It's true.
I'm not taking away credit from Connor because he crushed it, and I knew he would. That's why I recommended you to people.
Yeah.
But all you need to do, and people did this for me when I was starting out, like Jeffrey Holland. If you get somebody who is in the industry, you will get work because that person's like, oh, this guy is amazing. He will crush it.
But actually make
do it.
sure that you are what they're saying you are.
Yeah.
So like if Dave suggested me to, we'll use Jim Cook.
Jim Cook. He's a wedding shooter.
We'll
in
use
town.
Jim Cook.
A really good friend.
Dave suggested me to Jim Cook, right?
Yeah.
Now imagine if I showed up 30 minutes late, or if I drug my feet, or I wasn't asking, hey, what can I do next, or tearing things down.
I thought you were gonna say, or did drugs.
Or did drugs.
You said drug.
No.
That too.
Yeah, or that. I showed up high. No, but basically what I'm saying is live up to it. Exceed their expectations, and they'll be like, oh wow. And then who knows? Maybe Jim Cook will suggest me to somebody else that he knows.
Yep.
And that's how work happens.
Yep.
That's what I've learned from you.
Things have sort of dithered down for you with Jim Cook in particular and other people because people now know that we're moving.
Yeah, it's true.
But yeah.
I have gotten other jobs though. I have another job coming up. Two other jobs coming up, and I have one that's a maybe before we move for sure. But Kinotika is enough for me to live off of. So
yeah. Knock on wood. Hopefully, nothing goes wrong there. Yeah, my high school honors AP class were indexed and got a bump in your GPA. Okay, so honors did bump it.
Okay.
And then an A in honors class was worth more than an A in a normal class.
Okay, good to know. See, I didn't know that.
Also, I wish I had taken as much as possible at community college. It was so much nicer and easier than high school or college, and the teachers were actually better.
I actually agree. I had history. I'm going to talk about history, I guess, again. But I had a really, really amazing history teacher in community college.
They're paid more than high school teachers.
Yeah, and he made sure you could genuinely see that he cared that we were learning stuff, and it was great. So I thoroughly enjoyed my teachers in community college.
Man, this is fun. We got the hardcore fans. Like, we're doing an after show at this point. Like, this is encore. This is like an encore presentation. Although Kevin just asked about the rumors. And Kevin, we talked a lot about that early on in the video, and it's really exciting times. Mm-hmm. We will be seeing a Canon mirrorless and a Fuji camera next week. The X-T3 from Fuji is coming out, which should be pretty awesome. A lot of upgrades going on, very similar to what they're usually doing.
I don't even think we mentioned the Fuji before, so that's kind of...
Fuji rumors, X-T3, I don't know, is it full frame? Oh, first X-T3 images just leaked, just now.
Literally just now, that's amazing.
Oh my goodness, I am posting this to the 12 of you guys who are here.
Give us credit, 17.
Boom, I just posted that in the chat. Look at it, guys. There's an image of it. The X-T3, the top dials are thinner like the XH1. It looks very similar to an X-T2.
Yeah.
There is an ISO 160 on the dial, a little bit bigger grip. It comes in silver. There's also a small chance that you didn't know this in the images. Wait for more images. Oh, there are also some changes that we didn't recognize in the images. It looks pretty much the same as an XT2 as I'm looking at it here. The same screen style that kind of flips out. They're pointing out the differences here. It's really negligible, the differences.
Good word.
But there is IBIS on the camera maybe, but we don't know for sure. They might keep that locked at the XH1. But yeah, pretty cool.
Nice. That's kind of a fun coincidence there.
And then as far as the Canon, obviously I know. Furworks, the Fuji cameras look beautiful. They look like retro cameras. I love it.
Retro is nice.
The Canon, we're all really excited about it. We don't really have any information. Canon has really done a good job of keeping the information locked.
Canon, yeah, that's actually, to their credit, that's pretty amazing. It's hard to do in today's time because a picture that's leaked, any information gets around like
Alberto, G7 has ISO 100. Not a dial on the top. That's what the X-T3 has. That's what we're referring to. But yeah, there's going to be new lenses for the new Canon mirrorless, so that's exciting. That means that it's going to take advantage of the smaller size, a 28-70 f2, a 50 1.2, which I'm really excited about. Those two lenses are really all you need for what we're doing here. So I would love that. And then maybe get an adapter and put like a 16-35 Canon EF on there until they make an R mount 16-35 equivalent for vlogging. Yeah, real exciting stuff. But yeah, I didn't go to college fully. I went a year and a half to community college and then I dropped out.
So you were half a year away from getting an associate's?
Yeah.
I was just curious.
I just didn't care.
Yeah.
I was like, there's no point.
No, I understand that. I had that same feeling around the same time, but I finished to my mom's request.
Actually, no. I was taking classes specifically designed to get me to art school. I was going to go to SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design. So I was not doing the traditional path that community college recommends to get an associate's. I was doing all the classes that I was saving money from to go to art school.
Okay.
So I was doing all my basics.
Nice.
So even if I went 2 years, I wouldn't have gotten an associate's because I wasn't doing the system.
Right.
But
no, it's okay. I tell people all the time when they're like, "Oh, you graduated, you got an associate's." They're like, "Yeah, I got an associate's in nothing."
But
that's the truth.
Here's the kicker for me. Like I was freelance, worked for myself forever, so like I'd never really needed college, obviously. But I did have a real job last year, and well, I guess it was a year and a half ago now.
Yeah.
And for about 2 years. And that is something that like everybody and their mother would say, like, you have to have a degree if you want to work corporate. And when I was filling out my application, they did ask, did you go to college? And I had to be honest and say no. But I was applying for a video position, and like all my credits for the last 6 years before that of shooting videos, that was more appealing to them than a resume or like an actual degree anyways.
Than a piece of paper.
And almost all the people on my team didn't go to college anyways too. I mean, it was a video creative team.
Yeah, I was on the set of something, and I don't remember what it was now, but I was on the set of something, and I was about halfway through college for an associate's, and I just went around and asked everybody. I'm like, did you go to college? Did you go to college? Did you go to college? Half of them said yes, half of them said no. So if that's any indication, it's like 50-50. So it doesn't really seem to make that much of a difference. They say the best thing that you get out of college is the networking.
Yeah.
And if you can network outside of college, then you just save yourself a lot of money.
I heard somebody say, Gary Vaynerchuk, I don't know if you guys listen to him. He's an amazing speaker and author and business owner, CEO, and just epic marketing strategist guy. He said, like, the argument of, like, you go to college to have an experience and, like, make friends is the dumbest argument. Because it's like, if you took $60,000, which you would spend to go to a traditional university, and go to every festival in the entire globe, travel the world, go to music festivals and, like, get a bunch of roommates and like have fun for 4 years and spend that much money on partying and like having fun and enjoying yourself and making friends, that will give you better friends than going to college. Yeah, and then there's no school attached.
Right. College was made to get you a job. So if it's not going to get you a job, then you shouldn't be going to college. If you're going to be a doctor, please go to college.
And Furworks mentions that what he does for a living requires a degree.
There you go.
And so, like, whatever it is that you want to do, think about, the path that you need to take to get to that.
Right.
It's all goal-oriented. What is your goal?
Right.
Okay, now backtrace. How do you achieve that goal? If going to school is a requirement to achieve that goal, then you have to go to school. Right. If you want to be a lawyer, doctor, engineer, whatever.
Right.
There's a whole list of things that require a degree, a teacher,
Yeah.
But anything in the creative field, literally anything in the creative field, I I would have to very strongly argue that you do not need school. Almost every actor that has made a name for themselves in Hollywood at all has not gone to school. A lot of directors haven't.
There's not to say that there aren't people who have, but I think the point is that
in
there's
2018
tons that haven't.
In 2018, there's been a huge shift now in the last decade. You look at a lot of the 50 and 60-year-old filmmakers, directors, Ridley Scott, George Lucas, Steven Spielberg. They all went to film school. Why? Because the only way to make movies, it literally costed hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to make. And the only place you could go to touch a camera and learn how to edit film was film school.
There was no internet.
Because they had the ecosystem of film and development centers and editing and actors and all that.
It took a lot more to make a movie back then.
Exactly. And so now with a phone, coming back to what we said earlier, you can edit on a phone, you can shoot on a phone, and in Alberto's case, you can buy a used G7 for $300 and shoot 4K video and edit it on your phone or a cheap laptop. And now you're like...
And you can distribute it freely on the internet.
And we're seeing all sorts of YouTubers coming out of the woodworks who are 16, 17, 20, 21, really young people.
Most of them are young people.
Are crushing it. And those are the modern day Spielbergs. They just have access to equipment that Spielberg never had.
I feel like Casey might be the modern day Spielberg.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, like the most direct.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just my own observation.
Yeah, totally.
2.5 hours.
Alberto says that I wanted to say the colors on the live stream look good. Very saturated and looks nice. Thank you.
That's awesome. That's actually really great feedback.
Yeah, thanks.
Good to know.
We messed with the picture profiles on the Sony. I changed it to a much more punchy profile because when we go live,
like it desaturates
it desaturates it. It turns a lot of the brightness down. So like if I look on the back of the camera, it looks really bad.
Yeah.
But once it comes out here, it actually looks pretty decent. It seems like every day there's new rumors for camera releases, and it's getting a bit spammy. What do you guys think could keep the balance between content and just rumors? And the colors do look good. Thank you. By the way, on the note of Sony colors, we did a video comparison of the Mavic 2 Pro and the Zoom, which is going to go live tonight. And that was shot, like, I didn't color correct it at all, straight out of the camera. And I found with the Sony, like, if you look at the image as is, like right now, I'm looking here, it looks good. Like, it's objectively not bad. Like, it really is good. But when you put it next to a Canon or try to match it with a Canon, it looks worse, I think. But that does not look bad to me at all. In fact, I would say that looks good. It's just our bit rate or whatever. Something's going on with our image. It's making it really jagged and giving us a ton of aliasing.
We'll hopefully figure that out soon.
As far as the rumors go, I mean, yeah, right now is crazy. It'll slow down after Photokina is over. Everything's just happening now because Photokina is around the corner. Photokina only happens every other year, so there's a lot of pent-up demand. There's
also, a lot of the rumors, I don't know, at least in my mind, a lot of the rumors, like even with the drones, have been true.
Yeah.
So as far, like, they're still rumors, yeah, but they're like almost leaks at this point because most of them have been somewhat accurate, if not completely accurate.
But
so
how do we keep up with it? I don't know. Before I even worked...
I just asked him what's new.
Yeah, before I even worked for Kinotika and before I even was a YouTuber, I kept up with all this stuff. And I never had an outlet to talk about it. I would even talk to my friends like Jeffrey and Davo and people, and like I always felt like I can absorb that information really well. Like, I don't know how, but I just remember the specs. I remember all the information.
But I spouts out stuff like it's unbelievable, and I'm sitting here like, okay, wait, what is that again?
Yeah.
And he just knows.
I can't explain it because I can't do that about cars. I know nothing about cars. I can't really do that about much anything else. But it's just something that maybe I've unlocked something in my brain that I can obtain camera technology information.
I don't know that you've, in quotes, unlocked anything. I think it's what you would call you've developed this part of your brain because you've been doing this for 10 years.
Yeah.
Plus, 10 years plus now. And you would be considered, in quotes, a master because you've put in the time and now it's ingrained in you. I think that's awesome.
Alberto, if you had a G7, you just flip the screen and look at yourself. I mean, we have this software here.
That's all my computer's doing right now.
I think the G7 cuts off the feed, doesn't it? When you plug in HDMI. Are Justin and Greg as they... Awesome. Matt K. Are Justin and Greg as cool as they come across in the videos? That is awesome that you're a fan of Justin and Greg. We love Justin Rivas. I said it correctly.
Yeah.
And they...
You did, actually. Good
they
job.
are amazing guys. We met them both at NAB. And then obviously, if you've followed our channel for a while, you've seen that we've collaborated with Justin Rivas and Brandon Washington on the Canon video. I'd love to maybe Brandon just got his Mavic 2 Pro.
Yeah.
I don't know if Justin's getting on. Maybe we could do another collab.
That'd be kind of fun.
About that. But yes, they are as cool. I think Greg is one of the funniest guys.
Yeah, I was going to say, they're both hilarious. Greg is particularly hilarious, though.
Maybe Peter McKinnon is the new Spielberg. Be careful with that one, man.
No. Peter McKinnon is the new Michael Bay.
That's a great comparison.
Because, here's the deal. It's highly stylized and visually...
And that's not a knock against
That's
it.
not. It's visually impressive and highly stylized.
And it sells a lot to consumers.
And it's really good. He knows what he's doing. I don't think he doesn't know it. And in fact, I enjoy watching his videos a lot. But I would say that Casey Neistat is more comparable to a Spielberg just because of the story.
The storytelling aspect.
The storytelling aspect is par none.
Peter is a case study in YouTube because he came out at a time where, we already had Casey, we had MKBHD, we have the people who are doing really polished, really beautiful tech reviews like MK, but then you have Casey doing a mixture of tech and vlog style, and then Peter came out of nowhere and kind of almost took those two things and combined them. Yeah. Where you have really polished and really refined cinematic style stuff with vlog style stuff. Yeah. And it was a really interesting thing that he did, and he's a great case study in you can make a living doing camera related only stuff.
And also he broke into something that maybe before he broke into it would have been considered crowded. Yeah. But now that he proves that it's not if you do something original to yourself, again, like we were talking about earlier, it can do well. Yep.
And we both have a lot of original ideas, and we never do them because we still have time. So.
Yeah, it's true.
The G7 HDMI only turns off when recording. See, you guys know how I love it. Peter versus Dave in Magic. Yes. Yeah. So hopefully one of these days I'll get to interview Peter McKinnon.
Could
and
happen.
I can remind him that we met 7 years ago at a Magic convention, and then he will maybe remember, and then we can talk about Magic, because I used to be a magician for 7 years. In fact, when I met Connor early on, when we were both much younger.
It's true. I was way younger.
I was, to him, he saw me as a magician, not a filmmaker.
No, I actually didn't know that he did any sort of film at the time. Yeah. I knew that you helped Jeffrey, I think, but I don't think...
I hated that was my identity.
Yeah.
I just help Jeffrey.
I think that's how I saw you. You were Jeffrey's little helper.
But I was.
And you also did magic.
Jeffrey taught me everything.
And he was great. I actually really enjoyed his magic at the time.
All right, guys. I think green screen yourself. Maybe we could put a green screen behind us one day and have fun with that. OBS lets you key out stuff in the software here.
So I don't know. I'm having trouble enough just pressing one button.
Anyways, we will definitely close this up. We're at 2 hours and 30 minutes. We had a nice after show there. Yeah. Thank you guys for sticking around for, gosh, that's a long one. This is a record for us, actually.
This is.
Thank you guys so much. We're going to be posting a very detailed and very kind of scientific Mavic 2 Pro versus Mavic 2 Zoom.
It's not going to be as peppy.
It's a camera comparison video, and I think it's actually really valuable. It's
highly interesting.
I really actually think that if you watch the whole thing, you're going to get something out of it that you haven't seen on any other channels. I'm serious. It's not going to get a lot of views because it's a technical video, but for those of you who do watch it, who care about the camera comparison, it's really detailed and really thorough. So, but yeah, thanks for the background. Yeah, we're pretty fortunate here at this studio. We're going to have to kind of downgrade a little bit when we move to California. This studio is phenomenal. The fact that we have this much space.
The studio will downgrade, but everything else will upgrade.
Yes, so we will be shooting on location more often probably because the weather will be great and we'll be right next to the ocean.
Yeah.
So, although we're probably going to be like, gosh, too many ocean videos. But
We'll just go to the Redwoods. Go camping.
It's like a one-day trip, though. It's like a 12-hour, 10-hour
yeah,
drive.
it's a bit of a ways.
All right, boys and girls.
Ladies and gents.
Ladies and gents, I will finish my salami sandwich, and we will see you guys live next Friday at 3 o'clock.
And keep an eye out for the community post because we try to go through that first. So if you want your question answered right away, do that.
Thanks
also,
again.
Be sure to check out Dave's personal channel. He did a great new video, and be sure to check out my personal channel because I think I did pretty good too.
You know what? I totally forgot. As I'm saying this outro, talking about seeing you guys next week, we will obviously be talking about the Canon mirrorless camera and the Fuji X-T3 next week.
So
I kind of forgot that it's happening next week.
It's so soon.
That's so soon. So we will definitely be filling you guys in on all the amazing details that it's pent up demand for, especially with this Canon full frame mirrorless camera. So I can't wait. We're going to have to do an official Kinotika video too. We have to.
Yeah, we just need to do let's do that. Let's try to make sure that we're on the ball, and let's try to do like a
first impressions video.
First impressions, yeah. Maybe
like a couch talk
style, which we haven't done in a while. But anyways, let's sign off.
All right, see you guys. See you next week.
It's been great, guys.
Thank you so much. Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.